Okay, it shows I'm alive. Okay, yep, I'm alive. I'm still alive. Yep. I've been coronatized, but I haven't got it. I don't think anybody around the world hasn't been coronatized already. Yep, that's what's happened to us. I know I got noise in the background, but that's life. But anyhow, I guess I'll wait until I see somebody in here before I really get going. But I do want to talk about this. So I guess it ain't gonna much matter. Okay, I do got somebody in here. It says I have nobody here, but I got a comment, so that must mean somebody's here, huh? Yep. And so yeah, you see the name. I'm giving it that for a good reason. We have a lot of talk going on, and this Corona thing is just every day, man. I mean, you want to talk about major fear porn. You want to talk about conditioning people to become scared and panic. We look at what's been going on and the shelves being emptied from toilet paper to paper towel to baby wipes to, sanitizers, things like this, okay? And I'm just looking at the reality here and I'm watching all these reports, and we got Trump up here almost every single day giving a speech live, and I was just watching it again, and I watched the report, even another report live stream, mainstream media, may I tell you, okay, of course. And when they were suggesting that this is worse than 9/11, okay? So now they've labeled this to be worse than 9/11, okay? And they're talking, what, July, August, okay, before we see an end of this. And of course, they're talking about New York now has shut down all schools, bars, restaurants, so on, okay? And to only carry out. Waverly Cafe up in Minnesota is closed down completely for a month, okay? Just closed their doors for a month. Okay. So, and I'm thinking about this and all these places that are going to be closing because, oh, well, we got to close because we got to protect ourselves. Well, what about the people that are working that need their income to pay their rent or to pay their mortgage or to pay their payments? Is anybody going to pick up the cost of what they're going to lose? Or are we going to have an epidemic of homeless people when this is all over with? Do you understand why I said homeless? How many will become homeless? Now, do you know what I'm talking about? What I'm getting at? I'm getting at the fact that we have so much panic going on that we've cleared out all this stuff in all the stores, okay? It's just unreal. Canned goods, ain't been as hard hit, but they have been hit, okay? So it's just unbelievable. But I saw this a long time ago, and I knew that if something ever serious happened, this is the way the public would act. And unfortunately, acting this way will only put military on your streets before it's all said and done. Okay? Uh, if people don't stop their behaviors, but how do I expect them to stop their behaviors when mainstream media and alternative media are flooding the world with corona? Yep. We've all been coronatized, people. You've heard of being initiated or something like that, the initiation. Yeah, we've all been coronatized, initiated into corona. And the sheep are running scared. The sheep, they're the zombies that you see running through the stores with their carts to buy up all the toilet paper, all the paper towel, all the baby wipes, all the sanitizers, and fill their carts to the brim with it, okay? And some of them might even be buying frozen pizzas and and on, okay? But when you're emptying entire shelves overnight, like what happened in my town here where I'm at, I mean, a super Walmart, gigantic aisle. I mean, a long aisle with gigantic shelves to go way up, filled to the brim with toilet paper, freaking within 24 hours from the state of emergency addressed by Trump. The shelves were empty. They brought out a pallet. The customers ripped open the plastic and was taking the shit right off the pallet before they could even put it on the shelves. It was empty. Okay, so there you go. This is what's going on. And I'm thinking about this and I'm listening to about all the places they're wanting to close the doors to. Okay. Well, that means there's going to be a lot of people not getting paid. Yeah. That doesn't mean their rent isn't going to come due. That doesn't mean their mortgage won't come due. I don't give a shit if it's zero interest rates. If you're making $0 because your place of employment closes doors because of Corona, so the question is how many people do you think may become homeless from this? Is the government going to pick up and give these people their wages? Are they going to pay their bills for them and buy some food for them? For the people that are losing their jobs or out of work for a month? I mean, I know a lot of people in this country right now, they were out of work for a month, they'd be in deep trouble. They're living paycheck to paycheck. And that's a lot of people that's actually living paycheck to paycheck. This could be enough to put a lot of people on the streets, right where you claim you don't want them. Okay? And I'm not trying to be an ass about it, but I'm looking at reality. Reality is we cannot panic so bad you start shutting down major businesses all over the place because there's a lot of people living payday to payday that are just employees there that don't have money that suddenly isn't working. Okay. Yeah, I know I got noise in the background again, but that's how life is. Okay. They're closing all restaurants in Minnesota. Yeah, see, they're talking about it out there now. What I'm telling you, man, they're closing restaurants. They're closing bars. They're closing bowling alleys. That's right. They're closing all events. Okay, and you got to look at the reality. Schools are closed. Everything is closing up on you. Well, this means there's going to be a lot of people not working. This means there's going to be a lot of people not making any money. Okay? So you see where I'm going here. And this is only going to get worse, what we're looking at. Is it going to come to a point where they're going to pick out manufacturers and tell them they got to shut their doors because they have too many employees that might be together? Well, there'd be more employees unemployed till this crisis is over. Then they want to talk about this could go on for the next three. I heard him even say around the report the schools would be closed to April, the later part of April, and that I think it was April 20th, and then they'll have to reevaluate it, and it could be closed for the rest of the school year. Yeah, seriously, I heard that said from mainstream media. Now, there's been so many things said. Coronavirus is engineered to attack the X and Y chromosome. It's for men. It's population reduction and it's for men. Okay. Then I see another report, woman saying there's more women infected than men. Oh, so we're in competition again, are we? We're competing, huh? You know how many stories are out here saying it's this? Another story says it's attacking the lungs. Our other story says it's attacking the kidneys, and I mean, these stories and everything that's being floated about this is just off the charts. I'm telling you, it can't be engineered to attack men and then be killing more women than men. But I'm telling you, this is everything. I mean, open your eyes and look around you every day now. We got mainstream media, alternative media, the president, CDC, up on the net, up on television every single day, okay? With a new report for the day and a new report for the day, and every day it's getting a little worse and a little worse and a little worse. That's right, it's fear porn. And you know what? It's working. They're scaring the kajivas, leaving the kajivas out of a lot of people. They really are. And people are scared shitless from this. And the sad thing is when you can look at the Simpsons cartoons. My roommate was showing me it this morning. And you could look at a person who wrote a book back in what was either 90 or 81 or in around that area of 1990 or 1980, 81, somewhere in that area. Wrote this book and told about a pandemic would hit the United States or hit the world, we'd have a worldwide pandemic in 2020 that would come and go, and in its aftermath, nothing would be the same ever again. Okay, and this was wrote back then, and wow, we get into 2020, and we're at the beginning of the year, and what do we have? A worldwide pandemic. Yeah, I said planned, didn't I? That's right. They planned this many years ago, guaranteed. I don't buy that this person just happened to just write that in a book that many years ago. And then right to the T, it happens right when they say no. Oh, well, they could have been psychic. Yeah, they could have been in the know too, huh? They could have been doing what the elites always said they would do. They would tell us what they were going to do, and then they would do it, and we'd do nothing about it. They never told you how they were going to tell you. You just make an assumption. Well, they'd come up on TV and tell us that. No, they wouldn't. How do you think this got in The Simpsons? What was that, back in 92 or 94, the episode of Simpsons where they had the coronavirus? Okay. And then we have the book that was wrote way back then telling about this. And then when it gets to this year, it just suddenly right there it is. No, no, no. I don't buy that as being psychic. I buy this as being a planned demic to take more rights from us, the people, worldwide. I mean, NWO, a conspiracy theory, and I shouldn't be talking about a conspiracy theory now. No, you should get your heads out of your you know what and open your damn eyes. You should stop calling people nuts for telling you stuff that's actually going on and start paying attention to what's going on. And you can look at the NWO stuff and you can compare to what's really going on. I'm sorry, I mean, and I don't call this type of stuff coincidences. No, I'm not going to turn my back and look the other way. But the real question is the government going to send people money for the paychecks they're going to lose so that they don't become homeless? Or are we going to sit back and let them shut everything down because we're scared shitless? We're going to shut everything down. People ain't going to be getting their paychecks because they're not working. That's right. Their bills are still going to come due. Well, you think the beginning of this next month that the bills ain't going to come due again? So what? Somehow you think in April, okay, the bills ain't going to come due, huh? No, we know the bills are going to come due. And what happens if you go April and you go May? What happens if we hit May and you still ain't working, huh? What happens if the schools are closed down until right up to the end of the school year? Do you understand? If we go this far with our panic, you're going to not only have schools closed down as we do. I mean, let's look at the reality. All these businesses, man. I mean, Starbucks, okay? Starbucks, bakeries, restaurants, cafes. Yeah. McDonald's and Wendy's and all them places, the only thing that'll be open is the drive through. Okay. I'm telling you, this is going to get bad, but that means there's going to be a lot of people out of work. See, I don't know if you want to think that far ahead, but you better realize that means there's going to be a lot of people out of work. And there's a lot of people just living payday to payday. And I'll guarantee you, across the United States alone, there's a shitload of people, probably up in the millions, you know, easily. Around the United States, if I took the whole country, it would be a very big number of people that are living paycheck to paycheck. And did anybody ever stop to think when you shut down every bar, every restaurant, you shut down every freaking coffee shop, you shut down every cafe, you shut down, okay, all of these things that you're shutting down? This means there's going to be a lot of people that ain't going to have no money coming in. You know, in Illinois, they shut down all the restaurants, they shut down the bars, they shut down all casinos and all events already. Minnesota's already having restaurants shutting down, the schools are down. Cafes are shutting down. This is all happening right now. Okay? And it's sad to see what's going on, but in reality, it's all going on right now. Okay? We're all just now doing this, but we're not thinking about the people. We're not thinking about the people that are living paycheck to paycheck that ain't wealthy. Okay? So you went out and bought all this stuff and then you become homeless. So where are you going to go with all your stuff? Because if there's no money being given to replace people's pay, and then if it's a situation where, okay, the government says we'll pay your time off, but you're going to have to fill out this paperwork and apply, and we got to make sure you're actually in a situation, could take 4 to 6 weeks before you'll see your first pay. Well, there they are. How many people are going to be homeless? So by the time you got your first pay, you find out, oh, you're already homeless. And now you ain't got enough money to get another place. Oh, well, you got evicted for not having your money. Oops, it went on your rental history. Nobody wants to rent to you now. Oh, you never thought about that neither, huh? Yeah, people with bad rental histories will get eviction for non-payment. They got this search that all landlords run nowadays. They charge you for background check. And that background check is not the same as a criminal background check at all. It does check for criminal, but it also checks for your credit score. It checks for any evictions or that you've ever had. It checks for parking tickets, even violations. And that's the type of check it is. Okay? And not all landlords, but the majority of any property owner and landlords are using that background check system. And if you got evicted from not paying your mortgage or your rent, well, basically your rent, because mortgage is a different story. But if you got evicted from not paying your rent, because you couldn't pay your rent because we shut everything down, and your paycheck went bye-bye, and even if the government says we're going to pay it, if they don't step on it and they take freaking 4 to 6 weeks or 8 weeks to get you your first pay, by then, for some people, they could already be under eviction notice and behind, where now they have fees that they can't pay out of the pay you're getting. See, people, you need to think ahead of time, too. You can't just go in the moment. Because you got to realize, if you go in the moment and this stuff comes down, how many people? Well, I don't know where you get your information that your credit report's going to be wiped clean. I don't know who told you that. And, I'd have to hear that from the president or something like that before I say they might do it. Okay? I'm not going to go with all the shit that's being told all over the net. No, no. All we got is a bunch of fear porn going on, and it's scaring the crap out of a lot of people. Okay? I'm not saying this virus isn't real or people ain't getting sick or dying. I can't back any of that up. I can tell you in the county I live in the town and the county I live in, there's not one reported case of it. But yet they emptied all the shelves in the local Walmarts and all the stores. Okay, without one fucking case being discovered in my county. Okay, and that's in my county, and it's not a small county. So this is where we're gonna be at. You're gonna be in a situation where everything's shut down. You can go to your fast food place. The drive-thru the only thing open. Well, that means long lines in the drive-thru, and it means, maybe a few people will stay working. But what about the cafes and restaurants to shut their doors? Well, you just have a few people cooking and handing it out. Yeah. Okay. Well, that I would agree with Dave if they do something like that, because the end of this could leave major amounts of people homeless. That's no lie, man. You lose everything, man. You'd be on the streets. One day you had fucking blur roof over your eyes, you had the internet, you had TV, you had food in your refrigerator, your rent was paid. Freaking 2 months later, you're on the street, don't have nothing. This is where this could go real quick for a lot of people. So, this is the reason I wanted to do this live stream, because I think this is important and people need to understand this. They're talking about all this stuff, and they were talking, and we know how the government works. Anybody that's lived at all knows how the government works. They do things on their time, not yours. Even if they say they're going to give you your pay, how long? Will they sit on it for a while? Well, it takes you a little while to blah, blah, blah. We got to get this, we got to get that. Meanwhile, while they're busy screwing around up there, what has to go through the House and the Senate, while they're busy screwing around up there, you're busy eating up days and weeks, and people wind up homeless. This is the thing that I'm looking at the most right now. Okay, because the facts are the facts. When you start doing this type of stuff, we're in trouble, man. That's all I got to tell you. We're in trouble. We're just in a lot of trouble. That's all there is to it, But this is planned. This is no accident. This is 100% planned. I don't buy that this shit was wrote in a book that many years ago, and then it happens right to T, exactly as they say. And it just happened to be on the Simpsons like in 1994. It was either 91 or 94. My roommate showed me that this morning. Yeah, the Simpsons and freaking back in 91 or 94 had the coronavirus. Okay? Yeah, worldwide coronavirus on a cartoon. And then a person writes it in a book back in like 1980, 81. Coronavirus, okay? 2020, worldwide pandemic. Blah, blah, blah. Okay? No, it's not, I'm sorry. And then here it is, just right like it was scheduled to be, man. I've said before, I'd lay you money they spent the last freaking maybe even decade going over to China and paying people to put on a mask and blah, 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 and creating this footage that's showing you right now. I'm just like, okay, so we're going to have drama out there in the middle of a live stream. It goes figure, doesn't it? I got to go out there and tell the ladies to shut up. You're going to hear it. I'll be quiet and you can listen to the girls fight. I'm not arguing with you. It doesn't even pay. Okay, now maybe it'll go quiet for a second. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. It was 1981, the end of days. I highly appreciate that, Dave, because that's exactly what I was talking about. No, this shit was planned. Okay, what you're looking at was definitely planned. But I'm looking at people's responses and how people are acting and the behavior. And it's everything that I said years ago. This is how people are acting. By God, if I wasn't correct, and I'm just witnessing it all with my own eyes. I didn't think I'd actually be alive to witness it, but here I am witnessing it. So, and the sad thing about people acting this way, it just says what I've always said, man. Communications completely broke down between people. They don't know how to get along. Everybody's completely divided. Everybody, the majority, not everybody, but the majority is completely divided amongst race, amongst gender. I'm about to go out there and scream at them to quit fighting in the middle of my live stream, huh? Yeah, that's what it's like having a couple women in your house. Anyhow, back on topic. I keep getting drawn off by the drum in the back of my head there. So no, my whole thing is I see where this is going. This means a lot of people out of work. And you start getting people losing their work and not being paid. You know, some people you might be lucky enough you have sick time or your school system, if you're a government employee, if you're blah blah blah, depending on your job, you might get some kind of pay. But for people that are freaking not on that kind of status, that are working in all these restaurants and cafes and bars and and coffee shops and bakeries and on, that you're closing down, this means there's a lot of people not working now. This also means there's a lot of people that could be in big ass trouble. And that's the reason I'm saying this. And then knowing how the government works, knowing they never do things quick. Their idea is quick is 4 to 6 weeks, please. Yep, that's quick. Well, in 4 to 6 weeks, if you're behind on 1 month's rent, that puts you behind on 2 months' rent. That's right. That puts you immediately behind on 2 months' rent. It means your bills ain't getting paid. It means you become homeless. And I could see a massive amount of people homeless behind this. So I think the people really better start thinking about rising up and saying something. Oh, eyes of the darkness. Well, I'm glad that you're here and you know about this, Dave. I really am. I mean, it's actually nice having you in the chat right now because you know about this book and these things ain't accidental. You people are sheep out here that want to believe this is just something that happened. It was in the air, No, it wasn't. This is part of what we've been screaming for years. That so many people want to say you're a conspiracy theorist and we don't want to hear about that. Okay? So well then you don't want to hear about what's going on down around your frickin' throats right now. You just want to run around like brain dead zombies and run to stores and clean the shelves and panic from because you would never look. It's unreal. It's just unbelievable. So yeah, I'm up here talking about New World Order conspiracy theories, now ain't I? Well, here's your conspiracy theory right in your face. Yeah, restaurants and cafes being shut down, schools being open. But don't worry, it's not real. Okay, that's not really happening, guys. No, it's a conspiracy theory. We all know that's nuts. Nobody would ever do this, right? Yeah, because this is a big conspiracy theory. That's all this is. Ain't even really happening, right? So I've always told people, man, you need to read it around the backside to clean out the wax or the crap out of your ears and start paying attention. And I don't like being mean to anybody because I'm not that way. I try to help people all the time. It's just, I get so frustrated because I knew this shit was going to happen one day and I thought I'd already be on the other side, man, gone, dead, before it would come down to what I'm seeing happening right in my face. Well, guess what? I'm not gone. I'm not dead. And I'm witnessing what I already knew would happen that I thought I wouldn't be around to witness. And it's sad. It really is. Nobody thinks about nobody but themselves. They don't care who goes out when they go to the stores, but they never give a second thought that when people really start getting desperate, bad things are going to happen. We've already had violence in a Costco where people are beating the crap out of each other for the stuff on the shelves. This has already happened. This is your mentality, man. One-upping somebody else. It's all a competition. Well, I got news flash for you. It's not a competition. People's competitive nature was freaking socially engineered into them. That is social engineering. We don't belong competing against each other. It only makes us hate each other. But that's exactly what we're doing. Everything in life, we're competing against each other. Men are competing against men for women. We're all competing against each other for a better position and more pay. We're competing against each other for who has the better lawn, who has the better car, who has the better house. You can't even freaking go on a dating site without you have to have game, damn sport and arena. And there's just no end to it. Oh yeah, I know what you're saying, Jeff. If they had the internet during the Great Depression, well, I'll tell you what, nowadays, if we have a really good Great Depression and they have the internet around us, we know we do, you may not be able to afford to be on the internet. Because after all, they shut your job down because you was coronatized. That's right. For your own safety, you need to go home and stay at home. An old press for news talking about over there across the waters about them shutting down and about them quarantining everybody, even for travel. You got to have a special piece of paper just to travel from one town to the next town next to you or to go to the grocery store. Anytime you step outside the door of your house, you got to have this special piece of paper. And if you don't have it, you're facing 300 or 3 months in jail or a fine. Okay? Well, see, there you go, man. That's the control. There you are. That's NWO right in your face. And the sad thing is so far with the numbers, the flu has killed more people every year than the numbers of this has. But this has been reported to be worse than 9/11 now. Yep, by mainstream media. They actually made that call and said that the coronavirus is going to be worse than 9/11. And I thought, well, you know what? Maybe it could be. Because I'm looking around me and seeing all these places closing their doors to the public. That means there's going to be a lot of people who ain't going to work. Especially in restaurants. They'd only need a cook and fucking one person maybe to take the orders and collect the money and give out the food. And some restaurants won't even have that because they don't want the door open. They don't want people coming in. It's insanity, man. Pretty soon, well, they're going to be delivering your food to your house, right? And then they'll be telling you how much food you're allowed to have for how many heads in your house. And they'll be putting together what food you're allowed to have for that month. And if it ain't enough to get through the month, oh well. Don't go outside and try to go to the store now. You might have a special piece of paper. Now, I'm not saying it's go that far here, but see, I'm watching everything that's going on, and I've been watching reports from all over the place, and I've been looking at all these different articles wrote and all the different stuff that's been said, and man, you want to talk about completely nuts? It is completely nuts. We have it genetically modified to go after the X and Y chromosome, and it's targeting men. Up, it's targeting only the elderly. Up, it's targeting everybody. Oops, it's targeting only women. That there's more women dying than there is men. Oh, believe me, I've seen all these different reports, and I'm looking at this saying, you people are out of your damn head. You're off the charts, man. You're out of your mind. How can you sit and say that it's targeting men, and then another report says it's targeting women? More women are dying than men. Okay? It's targeting the elderly, but yet a 30-year-old died from it. Oh, give me a break. Where's the nonsense stop? Everybody just reaches up there, you know what, and makes something up. It's just fucking uncannily real, man, that you're watching this, but so you can't go with anything you see it online or even off the mainstream media now. You're going to have to use your own head for your own thought for what it is, because it can't be everything that's been reported. I'm sorry. That's complete insanity. And I'm not trying to be hard on anybody, but it is. It's complete insanity. Because it can't be all of it. Okay, so we have a coronavirus going around. Okay, people are panicking their asses off. The toilet paper thing, I don't think I'll figure out in a million years. You know, I was showed a picture today of it was SUV or something, completely fucking filled with toilet paper. I mean, filled right up to the brim of the roof. They stuffed as much toilet paper, paper products, and soap and shit they could get in that damn thing. Okay? Now I'm like, okay, this is awesome, man. So now you might become homeless with all of your toilet paper. Maybe you could build yourself a toilet paper house. Just hope it don't rain. Your house will wash away. It's completely nuts. Yeah, I suppose I could do that. I didn't have it up for that, but it should go over okay. We'll see how this works out. Looks like it may have worked out here. Okay, hello. So it looks
Hey,
like,
Bill, can you?
yeah, I hear you, Hayden.
Right on. Yeah, I just got off work about 2 minutes ago and noticed you were streaming talking about coronavirus a little bit. And I ran into that same problem at the grocery store last night. No toilet paper, no towels, no tissue, no bread, no canned foods. Basically, 75% of the products are all sold out, and it doesn't make any sense to me.
No,
The,
and see, I got the same issue going on here where I'm at too, and then I'm watching all of these different reports, and I'm seeing everything I'm seeing, and it's just no way, man. I'm just no way possible. But my biggest concern now is they are officially shutting down cafes and restaurants and bars all over the place.
yeah,
In my area up in Minnesota where I was just at, okay. And I'm looking at the fact that you start shutting down coffee shops, bakeries, and bars, and restaurants and cafes, and the only thing you can get is drive-through. That means they're not open to the public. The doors ain't, you can't go in. You have to go through a drive-through, right? This means there's going to be a lot of people out of work during this time. Illinois has already shut down all of that, including all their casinos. Okay, we got a casino in the town I'm in, and matter of fact, my roommate was at work right now at the casino that hasn't closed yet, and he's fearing that because if it closes, he ain't gonna have no money during the time it's closed. Now, if government don't kick in and give him money, when you know how slow governments work,
yeah.
okay, that might be 4 to 8 weeks, or maybe 6 weeks, you know. Well, meanwhile, you become homeless, huh?
See, that's not good.
So that's why I said, so what's the outcome? Because, you know, they're talking this may go clear into August.
Well, I was pondering a few of those thoughts. If they're going to be shutting down a lot of these businesses, like you mentioned, cafes, restaurants. You got a lot of other people that's, I mean, the restaurant, dining, coffee businesses are not, that's only a small portion of American job industry. You also have people like me, warehouse workers, people that work in shipping departments, people that work in many different places where there's a lot of people working together. Um, I guess the only thing I would think is, why do they feel as though they have the right to take away the work from people working in restaurants, but they don't want to do the same thing for people working in warehouses? At least design a system to where all of these people can get um, PTO, whether it's company funded or government funded PTO to help them
Yeah.
out.
Well,
They're
there's
perfect.
that, or the government should pass something, because they have done this in history. Jeff Ashton did bring up a point, and I appreciate that, Jeff Ashton. Okay. because this has been done in history in a major crisis time where all mortgage payments, all rent payments were completely suspended and utilities had to continue to leave the service on, okay, where nobody would become
Right.
homeless and have this stuff, okay?
Right.
And that's what's going to have to happen here. Otherwise, you're going to have at the end of this a massive amount of people that'll become homeless.
Yeah. The latest update that I received was that the entire state of Maryland will be shutting down all restaurant businesses by 6 p.m. tonight for
Yes.
4 to 8 weeks. So
Yes. Well,
that's a big.
Trump was just speaking in CDC. This is the thing. See, the CDC and Trump and our freaking puppets up there been on a roll. Every single day they've got a new freaking live feed going on, man, and they're on the TV sets. They're all over the internet, live telling this and telling that and giving updates. And now the CDC is saying they're encouraging people to restaurants and all these places to shut down. And so you talked about the whole state of Maryland, and in Minnesota they've done basically the very same thing as Maryland did. They've shut down everything, and in the town I'm in, I'm not sure how much is going to shut down, but the talk's going on, and across the bridge for me over in Illinois, because I can leave state in a matter of 5 minutes where I live. Okay, I could be in Illinois that quick. In Illinois, they've already shut down all the bars and restaurants and casinos and any place that people congregate has already been shut down.
Right.
New York was
Yeah. This
talking
is so.
about bringing military in to set up medical tents. You know the
Oh,
scary thing about bringing military in?
give me a break.
If they actually bring military in for shit like this, we may never get the military off the streets again.
Exactly. That's it's. You've been talking about that for years, Bill. How they use these issues. They create the problem to begin with, and then they offer a solution to the problem that they started.
Well, you know what? You know what? This is.
So
You know what? My nephew. I like him. Believe me, I like my nephew. I love him. He's my brother's son. But it doesn't matter what you tell him. He don't look into anything. He made a post on Facebook telling and the post says he's tired of this corona stuff and the government needs to get off their butt and do something about it. And and I just fell over laughing like, oh, you mean the people who brought it to you need to do something about it? Well, they are. They're doing exactly what they planned.
it's Bill. I'm not going to stray away from my opinion. I'm sticking with you on my thought on this matter. I'm sticking to my guns. I still don't think this coronavirus is a serious problem the way all these people are making it out to be. I think the panic is
I
a hell
think.
of a
Well,
part
you know, this
of
is what
itself.
I agree with you on that. I think, and I'm not going to say there ain't people dropping from, but totally agree with you. I think this is a worldwide false flag, personally. Okay, and this was planned many years ago. That's so in your face. Okay, so I think what they're doing is they're purposely doing what they're doing, running this media 24 every day like this, running it on mainstream media here in the United States every single day like this. It's scaring the living shit out of people, and you can see that in your stores, Hayden.
Yep.
When you go to your grocery store and you notice what you notice, you go to Walmart and notice what you notice. Yeah, now see, the Walmarts are all now closing at 11 at night to like 6 in the morning. It's either 10 or 11 at night they're closing down. Yeah, it's locking the doors. 24-hour Walmart's no longer 24-hour Walmarts, but the night employees will
Yeah.
still be working. They'll be replenishing the shelves. And some stores have what putting rations to where you can only buy 2 of each item. And I think
Yeah.
that needs to happen because we witnessed it. All these zombies, these sheep, run scared who called me a conspiracy theory and a nut. Where were they? They were running scared like the zombie they are, right, and buying everything up.
Yeah. I know. North Dallas, all North Dallas Costco locations are issuing a restock today on all of their essential items, and they're limiting one package per person, which is not a bad thing. But I feel a lot worse for the people who work there, not there, but just Walmart as well, because I know they're getting um, screwed with overtime hours that they didn't ask for, and they're already getting paid shit wages as it is. So,
Well, yeah,
uh,
that's it, and when they want to talking about taking away people, you can't have more gatherings of more than 10 people. They don't
mhm,
want gatherings of more than 10 people. Well, what is
yeah.
that going to do to a job like assembly line?
What,
Manufacturing on assembly line, what's that going to do? Oh, well, we got to shut our doors.
Bill? I don't really know that many jobs where there's not 10 or more people assembled. Most jobs in the world, I mean, there's way more than 10 people at a time and in a small vicinity. So, I think it's kind of hypocritical for our government to put that hypocritical statement out there. Don't congregate with more than 10 people. Well, how about everybody in society working jobs where they have to congregate with 10 or more people? What about them? I mean, are they going to offer PTO? Like, what's the plan? What's the deal?
That's it. At this point, they've mentioned nothing but smaller business offering some kind of reimbursement for the smaller businesses, but they didn't talk about any of the other bigger businesses, and they didn't
Mm,
even make it clear how they were going to give the people who want to work money on that. They just said it was at this point it's all talk, okay?
yeah.
And we know how the government works. They don't act on your time or emergency. I mean, it took FEMA 5 days to get water to the Astrodome after Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah.
Okay, so
But
the reality is this could be a lot of trouble for a lot of people over something that I don't think is actually doing what they're saying it's doing.
if we were to offer that counter argument to these people, Bill, you know what they would say is, "Oh, well, we weren't talking about jobs. We were just talking about personal gatherings, parties, family
Oh well,
get-togethers."
but these people. Okay, so these people somehow didn't travel through the public to get to work.
That's just the thing. You can counter argue the counter argument to your initial counter argument and tell them, look, congregating 10 people is 10 people. It doesn't matter if you're congregating in family groups, parties, personal get-togethers, jobs, concerts, sports games. Gathering more than 10 people is what it is.
Yeah, I know.
the,
Jeff
the
Ashton.
world doesn't matter if you congregate whatever.
Yeah, Jeff Ashton just brought up. Does anyone
So
think that the elites could be at war amongst each other? I've given thought to that, and at first I thought there was a chance of it because if you collapse China's society with it, but then I got rethinking about it, and I thought, no, no, there's too much. You got The Simpsons in like 1994, and you got what Dave brought up, that book that was wrote back in freaking when it was wrote. No, no, this was planned. And it fell right to the plan, man. That wasn't no great prediction wrote in a book. That was them telling you what they're going to do, like they always said they would do. So I think everything you're seeing has been planned, and I think what you're going to see at the end of this worldwide is there's going to be changes made that they want for NWO on the way people live in society. And my worst scare is because anybody that's ever traveled, I've been to the Philippines, and I was to the opposite side of the Philippines of Manila. I landed in Manila on a 5 hour layover and climbed on another plane at a different airport and flew across the country, the islands, to a different island. When I was there, I was in a pretty good city. Yep, military everywhere. Even freaking on the bus going down the highway, military stops the bus, climbs on the bus. They're all loaded with M16s. You go to the grocery store, you got to empty your pockets and leave everything behind but your money. The military outside the door sitting at tables with M16s. Okay? You couldn't go to a pawn shop, couldn't do nothing. Military were and asked was there any police. Well, yeah, they had two police officers that hardly did anything because they didn't really have to do anything because military was policing the streets. Well, if we get military on our streets, I got a feeling you're never going to see them leave our streets.
and that's a sad thing. Bill, didn't you mention that you had read a book or an article that actually predicted a virus in 2020?
That's the book I was talking about. It was in that book. Okay?
Right.
That is the book I was talking about. And that was wrote, let me go back up. Dave found it. Okay. So let me go back up here in the comments. Okay. And end days or whatever you call it. Maybe it was a different time. It was 1981. I may have went too far.
It was in 1984, was it?
No. Don't believe.
Hmm. Yeah, that's not a coincidence that they would say that. I mean,
No, it's actually not. I don't call that a coincidence at all.
I don't think it is.
Eyes of the Darkness. The book was called Eyes of the Darkness. And it come out
Eyes of
around
the Dark.
19, and it come out right around 1981. And in that book, they told of a pandemic that was going to hit in 2020, okay? And at the end of the pandemic and its aftermath was going to change the face of our nation, and it could be the world because I ain't got the book. And it's now things won't look the same ever again after that. And I'm like, well, the next step to NWO. Let's get you ready. We condition you, you know. And then when I received that report today from mainstream media saying that this is going to be worse than 9/11.
Well, that's definitely a little bit unsettling. The fact that they could have predicted this to happen in 2020, 40 years ago, back in the early 1980s. But then again, if they planned it all along, it's not surprising because they planned it. They
Exactly.
wanted it to happen,
That's the reason I don't call
and
it. I'm not
I'm not
even.
willing to deny
Yeah.
it.
I'm not even calling it a pandemic anymore. I'm just going to call it a planned demic.
Right.
And you know, it's sad because we're looking at a situation that's going to affect everybody. Okay, everybody, and I think people really need to start saying something to the government about you closing down all these businesses. You better be giving them government paychecks, and that better like start immediately, not next month, not 2 months from now, 3 months from now, after you have fucking thousands of people homeless.
Yeah, I'm actually closer to my apartment, and I'm standing at a big intersection here in the city, and we usually have sanctions that their money, and it's sad. It's a sad sight to witness, and we have, it's not like society doesn't have the resources to settle this shit out and straighten out the streets and get people housed and helped out. We've got everything we need. We have way more than what we need to help out these people, but we don't.
Well, it's the
So
selfishness of our society. You know, they want to talk about how we stand together in crises and stuff, but they plan this crisis and standing together isn't putting people out of work, okay, and then not giving them any money to live on. And you can't
you know
fucking,
what?
well, it's going to take up to 3 months before you see your check. Then meanwhile, 3,000, you got thousands of people become homeless. Now you got your check that ain't even enough to get you into a new place. And now you got a bad credit check. I think what Jeff Ashton said would be the proper thing. I think, because it is correct. I think the government, if they're going to do this, then they should be implementing fucking nationwide paychecks to everybody, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, they have the money for it. I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to let them try to convince me that they don't have the money to do that for the American citizens. They do have the money to do that, but
You
they
know
don't want
what?
to because they don't
No.
care.
They can print money anytime they want, and they can't deflate the dollar because it's not backed up by nothing. You know, at one time it was backed up by gold, and when it was backed up by gold, you could say if you printed more money than you had gold, it would deflate the value. But when it ain't been backed by gold or silver in years, okay, then how can you deflate it? Sorry, what are you deflating, a piece of toilet paper? Because it's being
Nope.
printed out of thin air with nothing backing it. So don't tell me you couldn't print up enough money for the people to get them out, to do this. That would be a complete lie.
Right. It wouldn't be surprising to me if we could analyze this pattern of predictions that they've been making 30, 40 years ago in books, and try to observe books that are being written right now in 2020 that are predicting world events 30, 40 years from now, and make the prediction that those things are going to happen when they say they're going to happen. If they say that there's going to be a a problem worldwide where 60% of people lose their jobs in 2055 or some random year like that, and they put it down in a book, you could probably bet that something like that could end up happening.
Yeah.
Sad.
It really is, and unfortunately, when I'm hearing them talk today, and they're talking about this thing could go clear into August, okay, July or August. But you notice that Trump don't want anything to do with suspending the election, though.
No, because every 4 years during election season, there's always some event, some crisis popping up.
That's exactly it. You can count on it. A president election time, every time there's something that pops up, boy, they have pushed the peer porn big time on people. It's not stopping. It's every single day.
Yeah.
And they're causing
And
major fears, what they're doing. But you know how they control people the best? You know how you get people to give up their rights? By doing what they're doing now. Because they
fear.
keep pushing fear. That's right. If you keep scaring the kajivas out of freaking thousands and millions of people all over the world, you keep scaring them and scaring them, scaring them with something, and you got them in fear, they'll give up their rights willingly.
Yeah.
And that's what this
That's
is
the
about.
worst part.
And that they're gonna take more rights away from us is what they're gonna do.
Yeah. I don't have a solution to it, Bill. I mean, it would be easy to say that everybody should just adopt the mindset that you and I have and other people, just not be fearful and not give in to the bullcrap. But I think you and I both know that the masses are not going to follow suit. They're too indulged in the fear mongering and the conditioning.
Well, I'm going to change the radio show, my show once a week around a little bit, and it's going to have a little bit of dating scene topic, but it's going to have more of other topics as well, because I think that's needed. So we can jump off the dating, because you can only say so much on the dating scene, and it's not going to change, and then you just become repeating yourself. So
Right.
I think I'm going to do other topics as well on the show, just because it's needed. Okay, and stuff like what's going on right now. I mean, be aware. I mean, this has been planned, and I don't know the extent of where it's going to go, but I see them taking rights. There's a possibility we could wind up with military on the streets that you'll never get off your streets again.
That would
It's about upping the agenda. It's NWO all the way. That's what this is.
You know what the irony of that whole situation is that the very same people that are told protect our freedoms, the military, police.
Right.
If you were to gather up a round of people to protest in the streets nonviolently for your rights and for better pay, lower housing costs, the basic things that everybody wants. If you were to actually implement that and get enough people to go out and protest for those things nonviolently, that very same military and police that is protecting your freedoms would be the very same military and police that would be there to spray you with tear gas.
Yeah, well, media guy wrote. He says he applied at a restaurant job, and they emailed him back. They emailed him and said they're holding off hiring people. We're going through a mini unemployment recession. Well, yeah, that's exactly it. You're closing all these places down, and you don't know when you'll be reopening them for a lot of places because they're all speculating, And when I heard Trump today say this could go clear into August, I was like, huh.
That's a long time, Bill.
Yeah. And I can't
Mm.
get over the fact I'm watching all this shit and reports every single freaking day, and I watched what I thought I wouldn't be alive for to see happen in my face, and I'm going, and I knew people would act this way. I really did.
Out of all things, why would people why would people hoard toilet paper
I
and
don't know because
tissues?
that was also wrote in that book. Now I don't know.
Why?
I
I
don't
mean,
know how they done this because when they wrote that in the book, they also said that there would be hordes of toilet paper, blah blah blah. Okay, and then what are we seeing?
mm,
And I can't make a lick of sense out of it. Why, in a state of emergency, would you be worried about wiping your ass?
it's it's a um it's a virus. It's not a diarrhea pandemic. It's
I know.
doesn't make any fucking sense, Bill.
I know, and I'm like, so what are they gonna fillet it from front? What are you gonna have a roll of filleted toilet paper? What are you gonna do? Uh, don't marinate it; it'll disintegrate into your merit, and you'll be drinking it. Okay, so I just don't understand it. What are they gonna do? What are you gonna start eating your toilet paper?
It just blows my freaking mind. I don't know what to make of that situation. I can understand the food, but I cannot for the life of me understand toilet paper.
Yeah,
For what?
that right there is to me is just a total mind blower. Okay, it really is. It's a total mind blower. It just freaks me out because I'm like, what the?
Yeah.
But it's sad because this mentality will land military on your streets. We're on a slippery slope. You're in a state of emergency. They could just up at one level and you'll be under martial law.
I don't want that, Bill. I don't want to wake up in the morning, go outside and grab my mail and see a military jeep patrolling the streets. Why why would I want to see that? Why would anybody want to see any of that shit happening?
No, that's exactly it. And if
There's
we go under martial law, you're gonna have a curfew. And if you violate the curfew under martial law, you could be locked up or you could be shot and killed.
I'd rather be shot and killed than locked up. I mean, if you're going to take my life eventually, you might as well
Oh, I
throw a
know.
sack and take
Well,
it now.
Dean says that they could declare martial law right now, and he's correct. They could.
Yeah, they
Okay,
could.
they could do it any minute right now. Okay, he's correct about that. But what I think I'm seeing happening is they're building up to it. They're wanting you to accept it. So they're going to keep pushing this every day thing on the media and alternative and mainstream media in your face. And they're going to build it up to where people accept martial law. Then they'll amp it up to martial law. I see them doing that. Will we get out of this month before they declare martial law? I don't know.
I mean, Bill, there's I'm sure you've heard of a YouTuber named Russian Vids. Maybe you have, maybe you
Yes.
haven't. He said if you take the word Walmart and flip it, or you take the words and flip them, you get Mart Law, which is short for martial law. So it appears as if they're using Walmart as the designated location for enforcing martial law and the
Well,
effects of martial law.
Walmart is owned by the government, and so is Target.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, this BS about Sam Walton and Walmart. Well,
No,
I'll tell you what, that's exactly what it is, Jeff. Those people don't understand that Sam Walton they're talking about was part of them. Okay, and
right.
it's government owned. So's Target. Okay, people don't realize that it's the government that's bringing in all these WalMarts running jobs out. That's part of the NWO plan is to have one spot where everybody does their shopping and nowhere else. It's running people out of work.
Yeah.
And I've known about that stuff for a long time because I have done my homework and but I'm called a nut job. I'm called a conspiracy theorist and even in the dating scene I'm told I'm nuts and that TFL don't even exist, okay?
Oh, come on.
And I'm told this stuff regularly and it's just by a bunch of idiots. People that don't take the time to look or they'll look up something and read it and they just don't want to believe it. So In their mind, nope, there ain't no way this would happen. Nobody's that crazy. Nobody do it. You're not. Okay. So that's why I told them, well, don't worry. Corona's not happening. Okay. None of this is going on. It's just all a conspiracy theory, right, Aiden?
Right. It's just all fake, Bill. It's just all lies. Everybody just needs to
Yeah,
sit down.
just go right on down to your restaurant and go and get something to eat. Oh, I'll be there for you.
Yeah. Just sit down, watch the game. Oh wait, they shut the sports down. Uh-oh.
Oh no, you mean they actually? I can't help but be that way because the reality is we've known about this for so long, and everybody's just the same way, and not everybody, but majority of people are the same way. That I'm a nut. I'm a conspiracy
Hmm.
theorist. I remember being on a job and having come somebody over the job fucking over there talking about me and pointing at me. He's a conspiracy theorist, and he thought he was being all freaking smart and putting me down. And in reality, he was just a dumb sheep.
I guarantee you, Bill, if all the citizens were to get on social media and call the government out and say this coronavirus is just a crock of shit, y'all can't scare us, this thing would die down within a day.
Oh,
Within a day, it would die
they
down.
were talking about that with Trump. What about the people online and all the people that are still just going about their business and acts like this is all a lie? Okay, that this ain't happening. They were actually talking about that. And then
Yeah.
Trump said, well, we got it under control, blah, blah, blah. And then they kept saying, but what about them people? And then you got Press for Truth showing over across the waters that they're actually, everybody's been issued a piece of paper and they got to have that paper signed and in their hand if they go to a grocery store anywhere. Don't matter. They can't even travel to their next town without showing that paper. So they're showing your paperwork, Nazis. That's right. Okay, to travel. And if not, they're going to go to jail for 3 months. Which,
You know what strikes me?
go ahead.
Oh, what I was going to say is, what strikes me most is something I've been thinking about too lately is that if we observe ancient civilizations, I mean, going back to the Roman Empire and other examples, they always used um, fear tactics and scaremongering and different methods to which they could control their population through fear, even without technology back in those days. But people seem to have this idea, and I think this is the intellectual downfall. One of the intellectual downfalls of our society today is we would never assume that the powers that be would use technology and media to spread lies and destroy the country. But in fact, that's the number one thing that they're using to do it.
Yeah, well, they even passed a law that they're allowed to. They're even
Hmm.
allowed. They even passed a law giving themselves permission to commit false flags as long as nobody dies.
Mm.
And that's no lie. You can look this up. They've actually passed laws giving themselves permission for this. Propaganda. The media is paid to report propaganda. Okay, they
Right.
have to report what they're told to report. It doesn't matter if it's a complete made up lie pulled out somebody's anal. And so they just follow the script. Everything's scripted, everything they're told what to do. And, they're nice little order followers because they're collecting the tool, money.
Yeah.
See, they won't be out of a job. They'll still be up there on your television set telling you all about the lie. But they're going to tell you how true it is and they're going to argue against. So, I could see them moving it up to the next step, martial law, and I could see them also eventually coming after people online that are speaking out about it because they don't want the public seeing the real truth.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little unsettling sometimes. Because, Bill, I know you've been attacked personally. You've been threatened on many occasions for speaking the truth and saying some of the things that you've said. I mean, you, along with Steve and other people, are not afraid to put their names out there, especially here on YouTube platform. And it's sad that you don't even have the freedom.
I've done it for a lot of years, and I have had lashed
Yeah.
back at me when I had the stuff that's. I never lied to anybody when I said the shit that has happened to me. That's all
Right.
factual. It really happened to me. Okay, all for doing what I do online, but I'm still doing it. I'm
Yeah.
still here. I was actually pretty sad to see what I already knew would happen. Okay, because I knew it would though. I mean, I witnessed years
Yeah.
ago. I witnessed on a Black Friday a Walmart employee unlocking the door in the morning that was closed all night, and he opened the door to let the public in, and they had masses of people standing in line outside.
Mhm.
And no, there is not no call from there. Anyhow, they had masses of people standing in line, and these people rushed in and they stampeded the guy that opened the door. He ended up dying later that day in a hospital.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, and this is the mentality we were looking at. You saw it with the grocery stores and all the toilet paper. This is the
Yep.
mentality we have. It's all selfishness.
And I guarantee you, most of those people that were standing first in line that trampled over that person were lower class people that couldn't afford most of the items in there anyhow, which is why they were there.
Yeah.
It's
Trampling to get to the best sales of electronics and shit, not caring. Fighting in the aisles over an item. That happened at Costco's already over this fighting over food off a shelf.
Bill, I used to think that the most materialistic people on the planet were the richest people, and turns out that that's not always the case. A lot of the most materialistic people you'll ever meet are some of the poorest people you'll ever meet.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. It's not always, but sometimes you do. And the sad thing is, I'll guarantee it's people living from paychecks to paychecks that run in and flooded all the stolen paper products off the shelf. And these
Yep.
are probably the very same people that called me a conspiracy theorist too.
It's you know, it would be great if there was a way to get this live stream in front of everybody's face on YouTube. First video on the first page. Because people need the truth. People need the truth, Bill.
That won't happen because they don't want that out there. They'll suppress it.
Yeah.
They'll suppress it. They want the lie out there. You'd have to report the lie. I mean, maybe what we could do is just go ahead and we could get ourselves the coronavirus. Maybe you could get some Corona soup. Okay, get yourself some saltine crackers and eat yourself a bowl of Corona soup. I mean, we've all been coronatized anyhow, haven't we?
No matter what they say.
I'll bet you there ain't one human on the face of this earth right now that don't know about Corona.
I'm telling you.
You
No,
know,
I
and
don't.
it's just it's sickening. But I realized that I'm watching it this morning. It just got so frustrating because I'm seeing how this is going every single day. Every day there's a new report. Every day you got fucking the president or CDC up live on television and on the internet, okay? Giving the daily update bullshit, okay? Trump
Yeah.
was talking about how they swab you. They have a special device they go way up in your nose and around to your throat with. And that it's very uncomfortable test, okay?
Mm.
So, you know, and I'm like, yeah, okay, right. So, you know, it's unbelievable, okay? I mean, my town is Corona free. Well, so far, it may be free to get, right? Oh,
Yeah. No kidding.
I mean, you know, might as well be. Go to the bar. Well, I can't go to the bar now. It's closed. Sorry.
Yeah, they're shutting that down.
Pretty soon, you won't be able to get anything. You won't be able to go in and buy liquor or tobacco or any of that.
Well, on the bright side, Bill, gives you an excuse not to go to the bar and try to run game on the bartender.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, you know, on my luck, I'd go into the bar to run game on a bartender. It'd be a guy. Oh, so much for that game. It already ended. Didn't even get started.
This fear mongering. I don't care how bad it gets. I don't give a shit. What they try to push. Number one, I don't know anyhow because I don't have television anymore. So
Well, good for you. I'm happy to hear that. I haven't had my own TV in shit 12 years or a little more. Or a little more. I haven't watched TV in many years, okay? And I really don't miss it. I don't need it, don't want it. I wish everybody'd feel the same as me. That would really put a stop to all this fear mongering, wouldn't it?
Would, but they're not going to get me to run to my local clinic and take a corona vaccine or a COVID-19 vaccine.
No, that ain't happening.
Let everybody else do that, not me. I've already had enough of that shit.
I could see them trying to force it on the public under martial law.
Hmm.
I could see them telling you they're going to come door to door and fucking blah, 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 under martial law, and that you're going to get your corona shot, vaccination shot when they come up with it. Because we have to stop this pandemic.
Yeah, I could imagine one nurse accommodated by one police officer or one military agent to make sure that you take the shot. And if you don't take the shot, they're right there to confiscate you and lock you up.
Oh, well,
What a
then
s-
we got to
what-
take you over here to our quarantine place. Hey, how come it's got
Jesus
barbed
Christ.
wire facing in on top of the fence? Well, we
Yeah.
need to keep you in line, people.
Yeah.
That's what that would be about. We got to keep you in line, Don't get out of
Jesus
line, man.
Christ.
We're all under corona.
Yeah, I mean, when you're living in a system that gives you between the choice of a vaccine that's gonna fuck your health up or a trip down to Huntsville prison, that's not a free country. That's hell. That's hell on earth.
We haven't been in a free country. I just always said the people who believe they're free hasn't woke up yet. Okay?
Mhm.
And you're not in the land of the brave, we're in the land of the cowards, okay? If we were in the land of the brave, we would have rose up and stopped this shit many, many years ago. Okay, but we never rose up and stopped nothing. We just let it go on and on and
Yeah.
on and on. But we are good at fighting one another, ain't we? We're
one
gonna
another.
fight over some toilet paper now. I mean, come
We'll,
on, we're gonna go to piss cuffs over a roll of toilet paper. I mean, well, there's 9 rolls in that package.
We'll,
You got
we'll,
broken nose, you got broken ribs, you're on your way to the hospital. What for? I wanted that last package on the shelf, or I just took some toilet paper. I can't help it was the last one. And I
Yeah,
got attacked by another customer.
yep, we'll do that. We'll, the younger guys, they'll put the football pads on, they'll put the helmet on, they'll get out there and they'll fight one another and kick each other's ass for female approval. The women up in the stands cheering them on. I'll do that.
Oh,
The people that are going to the pro games, with the jerseys, they'll look at the team with the other jerseys and they'll kick their ass if they catch hard feelings. It's
Yep.
all
Well,
about
see,
competition.
Drunk
bro.
Hulk over in Canada says self-employment and GGG workers will become homeless. Yeah, that's one of my concerns over here with all these cafes and restaurants and shit shutting down. People ain't stopping to think about the people who are living paycheck to paycheck. How fast this could turn into a big epidemic of homeless.
Yeah, well, to address Drunk Hulk's point about being self-employed, I guess he's offering self-employment as the solution to this problem. I mean, not everybody can be self-employed. Some people just aren't meant to be entrepreneurs or self-employed workers, generating their own income. I mean, if we lived in a world where everybody was their own boss, there'd be no workforce really.
Yeah.
So,
hey, welcome. Let's welcome Drunk Hulk aboard.
Hello, Drunk Hulk.
Nice.
What's up?
Hello,
man?
sir. How are you? How are you two?
We're doing
Good. How about yourself?
Could be worse, I'm really worried about economically what this is doing. This could very well be a excuse to, tank the interest rates and make the rich richer and the poor poorer.
Yeah, it's not the virus that bothers me. It's the fear mongering and the economic problems that could come from it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I think that's the biggest worry because all the fear mongering every day. It doesn't matter. Every single day we have CDC, we have the president, we have the vice president, we have mainstream media, we have alternative media. pushing this and pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And out of that, we got people scared shitless. We got people panicking. And now we're shutting all this different stuff down. This is what we were talking about, Drunk Oak. The shutting down of restaurants and cafes and bars and coffee shops and casinos and on. The places are shutting down that have more than 10 people gatherings. Well, that would be most of all of your manufacturing industry of them. You know, because I'm sorry, they got more than 10 people on a shift. Whoop, can't have that.
Yeah, where I work, I'm usually in contact with around 10 people. Now that I think about it, I don't know for how long of an extended period of time you have to be around the same people to risk control. Well, for me, I guess the health risk is me becoming a vector and spreading it to. I stray on the I stray on the side of caution, and I try to avoid contact with elderly people. But then again, you can't tell if somebody has diabetes. Apparently, they're more at risk for coronavirus. There's a lot of conflicting data. That's part of what bothers
Well,
me.
there is. They talked about, I mean, the CDC talked about it, for there was Trump today, just before I come live, was talking about the people at the highest risk are the elderly or people with any kind of disease like heart disease or lung disease and shit. And I'm thinking, well, by golly, that's me. Because I honestly, I do. I have heart disease. I've had quadruple bypass. I have emphysema. Okay, my back's messed up big time. So I have these health issues, and I'm not too worried about it. I do a good job of self quarantining myself because my sonic nerve in my back don't allow me to walk very far without being in pain. So, and then I'm out of breath, so I can't really walk very far. So, I self quarantine myself before the virus, and I'm still doing it. So, I
Oh, that's
guess I don't got to
ominous.
worry about that. I hardly ever go out of the house.
That's ominous because I from my work, I'm getting quite a bit of back pain. I find
Yeah,
it
well, I
can.
have, and I do go out of the house, okay, maybe once a week with my son. I go to doctor appointments because I want to get out, and I go to the store, okay, and I use the shopping cart as my walker. I like the little one the best, okay. That's my great perfect walker. Without that, I'd be on one of them damn buggies riding around the store, and this gives me a chance to get out and walk around. So,
Right.
because I got something to support myself, and my back will let me do it then, okay? Because I can be that little bit arched over and have half my weight on that cart. But it's the first time I lose that cart and I got full weight and I'm standing up walking. Look out, my back freaking starts in, and then I run out of breath, and my legs hurting from the
Right.
sonic nerve, and I can't go very far.
Guess what? A guy who I work with, 58-year-old gentleman. He's retired with a pension. He works with us on a part-time basis just to get exercise because we do a lot of delivery work. And he said apparently when he was delivered that someone came out and gave him a hard time, like said, you shouldn't be doing this. This is the health epidemic. You shouldn't be working now. What the hell are you doing, man? And then he said, well, actually, I probably know a lot more about this than you, because the guy who was harassing him was 27 years old. I'm lucky I didn't have anything like that happen to me today.
Yeah,
But
now I get it. I see this come up in my corner of my screen. Coronavirus. Trump says U.S. may be heading into a recession.
Oh, give me a break. Give me a break.
I'm like, there we
Oh,
go.
fear mongering. Yeah, self-inflicted recession.
Exactly.
I'm worried about these dumb people that give into the fear mongering. I have no fear at all for the virus itself. I really don't.
my fear is mostly, to be candid, is mostly based on other people's fear. How
Mm-hmm. Yep.
when I'm on the job, when I'm on my delivery routes,
Yeah,
I don't blame you.
You could hop on a social media platform and tell people, hey, look, you guys need to chill the hell out. There's nothing to worry about. But I mean,
I'd be afraid to be in a public spot where a lot of people sneeze.
yes, like public transit in big cities.
You sneeze and you got fucking people scattering or running out the door and cussing at you.
No shit.
Or you get some fucking idiot jumping on you and beating the shit out of you because you're dangerous to society. You might have corona.
I actually I did a little more work today. I helped out with a few more things that I normally wouldn't, so I could get my coffee at work instead of buying it out, and then get a carpool home, because the transit, taking transit is it's a shit show, especially
Yeah.
they've got the windows closed, the heat blasting. Most of them do, but it's insane. The trains, oh my god.
No, and even with my health problems, I don't fear the virus myself. Okay, I do see that it was definitely man created. This has been planned, and just like it was planned, just like it was foretold in the book, just like it was foretold in The Simpsons. Okay, here we
Mhm.
are. The minute we get into 2020, by golly, here's our world pandemic.
And here's the thing, I'm not saying that obviously I'm not saying that the People's Republic of China are angels by any means, but they mentioned they're claiming the U.S. military has some role in this.
Well, you know what? I suspect that we probably do got U.S. involvement in this, okay? I really do. You got to remember this is NWO shit, okay? And I suspect this is planned just like it was wrote in the book was no accident. It wasn't some guy that was just psychic. It was a guy that was given the knowledge. It was a long drawn out plan. Now they're implementing it, okay? And I think worldwide governments are all on board with it. They're all working together.
So far from what I'm seeing, it's lending some credibility to the theories about um, the Georgia Guidestones foreshadowing sort of the global agenda. What do you think?
Well, yeah.
It,
You
it,
know,
this is the Georgia Guidestones in a nutshell.
it is. It's been in people's face. You know, I even tell them in the dating scene, all you got to do is read one little phrase, reducing the population down to blah, blah, blah number, okay?
Wow.
You know, and to never rise above again, to never let it rise above that number again. And the only way you could ever never have it rise above that number is you'd have to control the birth rate. Well, how would you control the birth rate? Well, you would divide the genders.
And divide the genders, raise the cost of living so people can't afford to have kids.
Yes,
Even
exactly.
just with TFL alone, Hayden and Bill, I think, don't you guys think like they were on schedule even with TFL and the male bashing in the media, like they're probably just trying to get ahead of schedule through this coronavirus. Like they were doing pretty well before it in terms of their agenda, right? What do you think?
You know what's crazy is that if this coronavirus really was a serious issue and it started killing off, millions and millions of people worldwide, men living TFL would be the last to die because we quarantine ourselves. We're true forced quarantine.
Well, actually, Alex Dashboard was doing a stream yesterday. He was mentioning that, alluding to the facts. I don't know if he knows for sure. I don't know for sure, but whether this is all by design to sort of, it sounds crass, but call off the demographics who are not as seen as economically feasible or whatever, like older people who have health complications.
Could be.
Like if you think about it, I hope that's not the case. I mean, I hope there's this it's not this sinister, but it kind of makes sense if you put two and two together. It's kind of in front of our faces. I mean, I think I think as time moves on, we're gonna realize more of the agenda. When you put it together with TFL and everything, it really seems sinister.
Yeah, well, I think Bill has the best viewpoint on this issue. I can't stray away from that. I can't give in to this fear mongering. I don't believe it. I don't.
No, and I'm happy you're not because I'll tell you what, being in fear is the worst thing you can do
Hmm.
because you're not going to think rational. You're going to be in panic mode, which we've already witnessed, okay? And you're actually going to be more dangerous to anybody else because they might cough in public, and your next thing you know, you're either panicking and running, or you're
Yeah.
so angry you're beating the shit out of them. This is the type of stuff we're going to see happen. I mean, we've already witnessed people beating each other up in a store over probably toilet paper or paper towel,
Yep.
okay? Which is absolutely insane. I saw another clip of it. I think it was a Walmart, and these people were just running with their shopping carts to the toilet paper and paper aisle. They were running with their shopping cart, literally foot racing each other over there. And I'm like, I'm so freaked out because, wow, if there's a state of emergency, my first thought would be food, perishables that last. Okay. And that's where I would go. I wouldn't be
Somebody,
running to toilet paper or paper towels.
yeah. Somebody at my local grocery store is hoarding eggs. All the eggs. They say limit 2 per person, and they're all both days I went Saturday and Sunday. There are no eggs to be seen.
Oh my God. Well, I'm
Yeah.
You
glad
know,
I got plenty of them. I got over 100 eggs. I got plenty of them.
at my local Walmart, it's the things that people should be buying are the things that are not being bought. You know, the meats, a lot of the eggs were completely stocked. So I had my pick of the litter of everything that basically matters the most. People seem to think that those things aren't valuable, but they'll go grab all the candies and the cheap canned foods and all this other shit, thinking
Oh,
that that's going to sustain them, and it's not.
it's the opposite here. That's strange. That it's
Yeah, well, people around here are a bunch of fucking idiots. The
I
Walmart
find
next to my
yeah.
house, it's a
It
fucking
could be,
shithole.
Hayden, it could be that there's more Asians where I live. Generally, they're more like they have more survival.
Well, when it comes to the toilet paper thing that completely blows my mind, okay? I'll never get over how bad this blows my mind. But when it does come to the toilet paper thing, I just don't understand it so bad that I'm like, but it's crazy because that book actually told that there'd be a run on toilet paper and paper products, and how they got people to do this is beyond me. Okay,
I don't know.
I think
it's almost like they planned it and they got a bunch of people from the public in every community all over the fucking United States and paid them money to make a run on the toilet paper.
I will say though that from the podcasts I've been listening to, and I've listened to some mainstream media as well. There seems to be the consensus among these health professionals that they're advising people that there's no benefit to wearing masks. Yet when you see in the Asian communities, like at least 25% of them are wearing masks, and I think even more back in China. And you know what that shows? That shows that yes, this is a generalization, but Asians have less trust in their government in
If I,
powers that be.
I'm only going to say if that's true in that part because I could be wrong, but in my opinion, okay, I think they pre-made these videos. I think all this stuff was planned. I think they went over there and paid a bunch of people in one little area and brought in Hollywood in that area and had them all put on these masks and stuff, shot some footage, and then left and did it in another area and then archived the freaking footage. And then when they brought up the pandemic, this is the footage we've been seeing.
Here's the thing. There's no there's barely any cases in Russia. You would think they'd be way more there, being next door to China. Barely any cases in India too. And now I'm being told that it's because the virus can't survive above whatever it is in the general. I forget the temperature, 37 or something. No, it's maybe 73. I don't know. They say apparently the summer is supposed to kill it off or something.
I know, I hear him saying that, but then Trump brought up we may not be out of the woods until August.
I think he's right about that. If this is true, I don't know why all the governments where I live, they're saying they're acting like we're just going to be like out of hibernation in a couple weeks, and that'll blow out over in a couple weeks. I think regardless, Bill, whether or not this is a legit pandemic, the governments have allowed it on purpose by not shutting. If it was real, they should have shut down international flights ages ago. It's not an essential service. They would have just kept the freight going. I don't know. It seems so bizarre, the whole thing.
Yeah. Well,
It's like a movie. It's like straight out of Hollywood.
it is. It is. And when you think about that, it's not only like straight out of Hollywood, but maybe the clips we're watching are straight out of Hollywood, huh?
Hey, I have no way of debunking. Like looking more and more like that when I'm thinking about just the contradictions that I'm hearing.
Well, when I was talking a little earlier, and I'll bring this up again for people who didn't hear it. Okay, just looking around the net, I've got the coronavirus was engineered to go after the XY chromosome is targeting men. And then one person says it's targeting their genitals to make them sterile. Okay, then you got another report about the coronavirus is targeting the elderly. Okay, and then you got other reports of it's killing everybody, young and old. Then you got another report that's targeting women. Okay, and there's more women dying from corona than men. Okay, and I'm looking at all these different things that are being said, and I'm like, you people are out of your fucking minds.
It is bizarre though. Like, if all of this was, it just seems like, I don't know, like SARS was like, I don't see how this is actually this disease is from a bat or something. So then how could it be that much worse than SARS? Is it really? I don't see it making people. I don't know.
Well,
They're already making us infertile.
Yeah, if it's from a bat, that I have to say this. It's because they want to mock you. Everybody's going batshit crazy.
I mean, I have. I mean, if this continues to get worse and worse, and they're pushing the fear mongering more and more every day, new reports, I'm gonna get worried because these people. I'm tired of other people getting so scared.
I'm scared of getting harassed at work or people in transit.
Yeah. I've talked to coworkers about this issue, and I asked them, hey, do you really think this is a real thing, or you think the government's just fucking with us? And both of them said, yeah, this is a bunch of bullshit. The government's just fucking with us. And these are Hispanic men. So there are some awake people out there. You got to speak up first. Give them the courage to speak up.
I wish more people would speak up, because we're never going to get the real numbers of people are dying. I'm not going to say nobody's dying from this. Okay, but we're never going to get accurate numbers or truth from anybody in media. They're all paid clowns. They'll just do exactly what they're told, man, like great little sheep.
Yep, they are. They are. And I think because this TFL issue is also getting a lot bigger, they're using coronavirus also as another topic of discussion to sort of take people's mind away from it, especially guys. Try to give people to something else to think about or worry about, which is also another big issue. It's like they're trying to kill two birds with one stone.
They gave guys something to worry about. The reports about the coronavirus is targeting men only.
Yeah.
And my thought about that was, well, why wouldn't they be targeting men? Why not? We have feminism targeting men. We got mainstream media, commercials, everything targeting men. We got men targeting men. We got women targeting men. So why not just add another one, right?
Yeah, add Corona to the mix.
And the healthcare system is not much better, is kind of targeting men in a way, in a lot of ways.
They are.
Yeah,
they are. I wouldn't be surprised if they really took this upcoming Corona vaccine as the nail in the coffin to completely destroy the male population, or at least the ones who take it. I mean,
well, maybe how you actually get the corona is when they finally come out with the vaccination. That will actually That will actually be the corona. And
Yeah,
you'll go down and willingly get your shot and then drop dead.
yeah. You know, I I just hope to hell that we don't end up in a situation where they enforce you through military force to take that shot, or else be imprisoned or shot and killed. I mean, if that really happened, it's been a good ride, mom and dad. Thank y'all for raising me, but this is where I depart because I'm not going to put up with it. If I die here, I die here. But you cocksuckers are not making me take that vaccine.
Yeah, the premier, it's like the state or the province here. He said that there's no way they're going to shut down the border to Canadians coming back because it's unconstitutional. Those are his words. So,
Mm.
I mean,
Well, they asked about that today when Trump was speaking. One of the reporters asked about the Canadian border, and Trump said that decision hasn't been made yet. So,
yep, same with the premier said the same thing, and the prime minister said the same thing too. They just keep saying that. They said both of them said, the premier and prime minister both said, we're considering, we have all options lying out on the table right now, and whatever has to be done to protect the country. Well, but it hasn't been finalized. That's kind of the take-home message from today's press conferences.
well,
No.
they're ramping it up pretty damn bad. And the way it's being talked about and ramped up every day, one step worse, one step worse. I think we're only freaking probably days away from martial law.
That's it's very unsettling, Bill.
Of course, I want to be wrong. I'm just telling you my opinion. I think that we're not that far
Yeah.
away from martial law. Okay, we really aren't. And if that happens, I think we're going to see military on the streets, and I think you're going to see a lot of stuff that will just suddenly never go away. When the virus is all gone and everything's done and smoke blew over, are we going to have tons of homeless people? Are we going to have military patrolling our streets that never go away?
Yeah, the
That's the
military
way
will
it
be
is in a third world nation over in the Philippines.
the military will be harassing the homeless TFLers.
Yeah.
They will.
I hate to be negative, guys, but I knew this was gonna they were gonna look for an excuse for something to just drive the economy in favor of the elites and screw over it's mostly single men. It could be men who have kids too. Anybody who doesn't, it's the male bashing, I think, unfortunately hasn't reached its peak. I hate to say that. What do you guys think?
No, it hasn't. And this is why I don't glorify the military like you're supposedly supposed to as an American citizen, because they're the people who really act as the driving force for the the programming and the problems that are put on us by the powers that be in the society, because the powers that be, they use the military and the law enforcement to enforce their agenda. If the military were to unite and fight against the powers that be, they would be fucked.
That's the only, a coup is the only way I think that we can see any structural change in society, like any safety net for TFL men. Because the safety net only really it mostly benefits women who have children they can't afford.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it traps other people into these vicious cycles where they're hand to mouth, like this disabled people are forced to live hand to mouth. We've got great diatribes in the past about how our society.
When you asked if I had 300 and some, I'm like, why? And then I'm like,
The
there's
disabled
charity.
is a burden. And
But
really
Bill wanted KFC.
Oh, excuse me a moment, guys. I got company in my room talking.
Yeah, you're right, John Cloak. I mean, it's I don't know what to do. I mean, I don't know if there's anything we can do individually. It's
Well,
it's a big issue, and I mean,
I mean, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope the mainstream media is right in saying this is going to be a short-lived thing for like a couple months at most. But I feel
Okay.
like what Alex was saying yesterday is probably what's going to happen is a bunch of people are going to come out in 2 weeks, and this thing they'll say this thing is
what they
getting
gave to you.
regardless of whether or not it is
Okay, so how much was the total
virus
on my meal?
or a hoax, regardless of what it is, it's going to be an excuse to destroy the economy and to make, well, yeah, let's face it, most single guys are living TFL. Make us homeless as best.
Yeah.
Doing whatever, pulling out all the stops. They said,
yeah,
you know, that's what the phrase the prime minister used. We're pulling out all the
Okay.
stops to protect Canadians.
I mean, they're not.
They're pulling out all
What I
the
asked for,
stops
the
to
extra
kick
potatoes again?
TFL
Be
into
in
the curb.
here.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing.
It's like,
Well, get me a fork or
because let's
something.
face it, a lot of these jobs
Or just
without
a spoon
benefits, a lot of them are this sort of grimy physical work that women are not willing to do. I'm not necessarily
got a biscuit
demonizing
yourself
women.
tomorrow.
I'm just giving you the straight dope.
Right.
So that's why men are in these jobs disproportionately. Oh, what a convenient time! What a convenient time to derail the economy.
Potato.
Because hey,
Yeah.
mainstream media,
Oh, I
they're
didn't get my
doing really
coleslaw.
well.
Oh,
They've got vacations, you know, catered for. Hey, they're
Nope.
probably going on vacations now without us knowing.
Yeah, and another thing that I learned too is, at least in it's standard law, that people who go into the armed forces are
oh well.
given 18 vaccinations before they go to boot camp, if I'm not mistaken, or once they get there. 9 vaccines and 2 shots, 1 in both arms, bam, bam. But if you look at the politicians and their sons and their family members, they don't have to get vaccinated before enlisting and taking jobs in office, do they? No, they don't. It always strikes me that the hardest jobs, some of the most physically demanding jobs with the riskiest, that pose the most risk to your health and to your well-being, are the ones that you're not getting benefits for. But some of the most easy fucking laid back shit you could do for a job,
like HR and that kind of stuff.
Exactly. It's such bullshit, dude. This country is fucked.
It's the same, yeah. We could say countries, plural. North America, I think. We are really screwed.
I'm so sick of this shit. I wish they would invite me on Fox News just so I could pull the plug on their bullshit. Look, your coronavirus is a crock of shit. I'm not scared. You're not going to scare me. You're not going to scare my family.
They'd never let you on TV.
No, they wouldn't. They'd never let me on.
You might accidentally tell the truth.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, they might have a
truth.
military officer right offset to the left, waiting to shoot me in the head as soon as I say something wrong.
Now,
Yeah.
there you go. Oh,
cut the camera.
That was the wrong word. Cut the camera. Boom.
Cut to the commercial early. We got business to take care of. What a load of crock.
18 vaccines. I couldn't imagine
Yep.
it.
Yeah, that was something that Augenis von der Planets mentioned back in a Los Angeles seminar from
I think
the
I've had
late
2000s.
2000s.
2 or 3 in my whole life, and then just for the past 5 years, I've just been postponing getting it.
Yeah, I asked my mother about a couple months ago how many vaccines I was given when I was little. She said a lot. I don't know what the hell a lot is. I just know that that's what she said. So I was
You're
like, God,
20. You're 24, right, Hayden?
that's right.
Okay, my son is now 23 years old, and when he had his vaccination shots, he was given like 11 to 12 of them.
Jesus
altogether.
Christ. Fuck. That's terrible. Yeah, he's roughly the same age as me. We're pretty much the same age. So, oh my God. God, it's such bullshit, man. I mean, if you sit and let yourself marinate on all of this stuff, it just, It gets under your skin.
It'll
How
destroy.
could
It'll destroy you. Okay, that's what it'll do. You know, they use fear to control people, and I think the reason they're pushing it so hard every day, is they want people literally scared out of their minds because at the end of this, they're going to take more rights away from you, and they want you to accept it. And they know if you're scared enough, you will accept almost anything.
I think
God?
I think I might be mistaken, but I think the Amish, the Mennonites, and the Hasidic Jewish community is very opposed to vaccination. Like
They are.
they would have. That's a big percentage of the pop. That's something like 10 million people across North America, probably more. Are they going to force those people at gunpoint to? It doesn't make any. I know I might sound naive, but how are they gonna?
I don't
enforce-
think you sound naive at all. I think that we go into a state of martial law, then
That's
even the Omnis will probably be at gunpoint. You take the shot, or you're going to get put over here in this camp, where you ain't going to be allowed to be free, and it's going to be very tyrannical.
You know what scares me the most, guys? And this really, I think this could, excuse me, this scenario probably scares me more than any other, is the thought of my own parents watching a military recon Jeep driving up and down the streets of their neighborhood and not thinking a damn thing about it. That scares me more than anything.
Wow.
That's called complicit. That's called going along.
You know,
Yeah.
sticking with their whole, oh, this is part of God's plan. Everything's God's plan. Are you shitting me? Come on.
I hear this stuff all the time, and I know what you're talking about, and it's disgusting. You know who their God is? The elite.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The boob
And it's
tube.
like I always talk to my parents about some of the government corruption going on and this agenda that's going on. And he always brings up a Bible verse to me because he's real Christian. He always brings up a Bible verse to me from the book of Romans where it says, be subject unto governing authorities. And it's just like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? So you're sitting here telling me that if the government wants me to kill my own family members or do some of the most horrendous shit under some of the most horrendous circumstances, I'm supposed to be subject under that? Give me a freaking break. It's just, I hear this stuff all the time from Christians, like, be subject unto governing authorities. We have to be subject unto the authorities in government. We have to pray for our leaders.
That reminds me of what
break.
It reminds me of what Steve mentioned when he said he comes across a lot of these people he's come across with during work, I think, or whatever. He's doing repair jobs at their places, and they're in more of the rural socially conservative areas. They'll say, oh, don't you mess with my government. Like they'll almost get defensive about the government.
There's still people that are. They're hardcore believers in the system. They don't see through the corruption. They think everything's hunky-dory and normal. And they're hardcore at it. You bring up, okay, like example. Let's say you're on the right or you're on the left. You know, you're Democrat or Republican. So let's say you're a Democrat. A hardcore Republican will hate your guts just because you're a Republican.
Mm-hmm. Just because of a label.
Yep, it goes back to what I said about sports, okay? From the very first arena that was ever opened for sports, okay, to the TV set bringing it on TV. What it did is it shaped your mind to be competitive. Then they took and bled it over into society, into the job place, into the dating scene, into everything. And now we all competing against each other and hating each other's guts. Everybody wants to be the winner. Nobody wants to be a loser. It's all a game.
I get so sick of these church people. I hate to rant about the church people, but god damn. Some of the things that come out of their mouth. I mean, oh, we're living in the end times, son. You know, I know things are getting bad. It's, you know, this is just the way it is, but don't worry, Jesus is going to come back soon. It's been 2,000 plus freaking years. Where the hell is he at? Is if
Oh,
he's
don't
supposed to be
worry.
coming back?
He's going to take
Oh,
you
he's
away
supposed to come.
secretly before all this stuff happens there, Hayden, okay?
Oh yeah.
I mean, the
We're all gonna
rapture, he's
vanish
just
into
going
the
to come down and
clouds.
take you away.
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah. Now would be a pretty good freaking time. Now would be a pretty good
Yeah.
freaking time. If it's true, it could be a freaking
Just
lie.
don't hold your breath waiting for it to happen, because I don't think it'll ever happen.
Oh no. I don't think it will. I don't believe in it anymore. I'm anticipating that all of that is just a fairy tale at this point. Oh, Jesus is gonna come back soon. You know, in the last days, you know what the Bible says, there's gonna be wars and rumors of wars. Has there ever been a generation in human history where there haven't been wars and rumors of wars? Give me a break. I can't stand some of these people.
Well, that and the fact that they tell you, if you go through the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill. So you're at war killing. Well, you're killing in the name of God.
Yeah. That's one of the military's mottos is, in God we trust. We have it on the dollar bill. That's one of the mottos that the military lives by. But you're killing. You're killing. It doesn't matter what you're killing for. Matter is you're killing.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I understand Angel's in here, and I understand what he's saying, that he's a Christian, okay? I understand that you're a Christian, you have your faith and your belief, and that's your right, but the stuff that we're talking about is only reality. Okay? And and if you can't wrap your mind around reality, what can I say? You can't have a 10 Commandments in the Bible that says you shall not kill, and then go to war and kill somebody and saying it's in the name of God who clearly told you not to kill. I mean, it's insanity.
Yeah.
Right. And Steve had mentioned something like a lot of these conservative Christian types will act like if you're not making good money, then you're immoral, you're less moral or something, which is bizarre because wasn't Christ apparently a beggar? Points in his wanderings.
Yeah, the official stories are really hard to swallow a lot of times.
Right.
Okay, they really are. I mean, think about Adam and Eve. Okay. Oh, well, what I was taught in Sunday school when I was a kid. I went to Sunday school every Sunday and went to church regularly. I had to as a child, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was taught that God created the earth, God created all animals, then God put Adam on the earth, and then Adam was lonely, so he created Eve after he took a rib from Adam and created Eve. And that were the only humans on the face of the earth, right? So then I got questioning myself. Now, hold on a minute. So this means these two had to have had a baby and then another baby of each gender that grew up and had sex with each other, brother and sister. So I guess we're all related, guys.
Right.
Now the other problem with that, of course, is if Adam was a black guy, then where did I come from? If he was Chinese, where did I come from? I'm sorry, this story's nonsense.
It is, and you have a lot of another argument I hear from Christians, or not an argument, just something else that most Christians believe in, as well as my parents. They'll always say things. One of their go-to lines is that, oh, in the beginning, when it was just Adam and Eve in the garden and humanity before the fall of man, God wanted everything to be perfect. Okay, if God wanted everything to be perfect, why the hell did he create the tree of knowledge of good and evil to begin with? Why did he create the serpent to tempt Eve? Why did he create the apple? Why did he create the rule, don't eat of the tree lest you may die? Why did he create the scenario for the fall of man if he didn't want the fall of man? So
Yeah,
start to break it all down.
That's actually really valuable points right there you brought up.
That is really deep. Wow, it's you can see the contradictions really kind of staring you in the face. I mean, I don't know what else to say about that.
I've talked to my parents about this. I just I get a little bit passionate about that topic whenever I get going with it, but
the thing is, you can use religion to justify so many things, like the massive inequality that we have now, and how that inequality, how it's hitting TFL men the hardest, right? Economically, socially, well, those are really tied together. I say that a lot, but economics and social and how people treat one another and socialize
yeah,
is is the crux of TFL, right? We'd have no need for any PUA if the social dynamics were actually fair and level playing field.
Yeah, you're right about that.
People didn't get ahead based on nepotism and corruption. But without corruption,
Well, we took away all corruption, and we wouldn't have no need for police anymore, right?
Yeah.
We wouldn't have a need for a military no more neither, because people would have actually grown up, right?
Exactly.
I mean, you know how ridiculous it is for men to be competing against each other for a woman, okay? And then women competing against each other for the best looking or the most rich man, okay? I mean, the competition thing's off the Richter scale. Everybody thinks everything's damn game, sport, and arena. Everybody's competing over anything and everything.
It's well, I don't know what to make of it.
We got a cat fight in the back, guys.
Yeah, I never found out how many vaccines I got when I was younger, but I wonder if it affected my development. I don't think I think most of it is societal and TFL, but can't help but wonder when your parents said you got a lot of vaccines, Aiden.
Yeah.
It's like the way that they said that was they were afraid of you knowing how many. So that's kind of disturbing.
Yeah. Well, I am.
So they must have been disturbed on some level. They saw you getting pricked by all these needles, but then they justified it with a religion, thinking that the system is holy. The system is in step with the Old and New Testament, the Bible, right?
Stop
I
fighting in the
do.
middle of my stream.
I do suffer from a form of high functioning isolated.
And so you
autism.
continue it.
Obviously not on the social spectrum, but
Right.
there's different forms of autism. You have the full-blown autism where people can't really function at all socially, physically, and then you have lesser problematic forms, like the one that I have, the high functioning isolated autism, where it's more due to your certain sensory deprivations and certain behavioral patterns that you're basically ingrained with from it, and that's where I fall in. But anyhow, I don't have any way of knowing how many I actually got. I know that I got the MMRs when I was 12 and 18 months old. I can confirm that, but I don't know. I do remember getting a lot of shots. I don't know. I mean,
You got shots. You got shots before you left the hospital after you were born. They give my son a shot right in the middle of his head.
Jesus Christ.
Ooh, but the head isn't even fully formed yet.
I know. They gave my son a vaccination shot in the hospital the second day before he ever come home, right in the middle of his damn head. And then he had another one and just freaking hit his little ass, And then freaking we had to take him back freaking later on, and they had this whole plan right in front of us. So in his first freaking 3 years of life, he probably had, like I said, right around 8 to 12 shots. And then he goes to school and he has to have a whole nother series of shots.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
This is why your parents would have said that you had a whole bunch. Because it becomes almost like, wow, really? Okay, that's what it becomes like, okay? And I know that because I had my son. Now, I'm thinking about all that, and I look at the reality as this. If the vaccination shots were that important, then I want to know how any of us got here. Shouldn't we all died off hundreds of years ago before there was vaccinations?
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Phil, this whole medical system is a crock of shit. They don't care about us at all. They're just there to make money. That's it.
That's exactly what it is.
Profit motivated. Yeah.
mercury, aluminum, formaldehyde. I mean, those are just 3 ingredients inside the vaccine. I don't know what else, but
Probably Corona. No.
Jesus
It'll be
Christ,
good for your
man.
health, guys. What's in a vaccination shot? Well, a little arsenic, a little arsenic, a little mercury, a little cyanide. Nothing
Right.
important. It's good vitamins for you. It'll help you out a lot.
You know, I was reading up on on this doctor that I follow online. His name's Augenis Vonderplanets. I know somebody in the chat also mentioned his name as well. He talked a lot about the vaccines and how it's just one massive agenda to make billions of dollars, to make people sicker. And then once they get sick, you turn around and you put them on medications to make even more billions. And he said that if you transition from a standard American diet to a natural diet, eating the foods that are natural for you, and you start detoxing, you'll notice your skin begin to detox and break out into rashes in the region of the skin that the vaccination was put into. So like the outer shoulder, the outer shoulder region is a particular region of the body where vaccines are put. The outer part of your ass cheek, right by your hip, is another part of the body that gets vaccine shots. And like you mentioned, Bill, the right on the head. And one thing I noticed is that I've got a rash, a small rash. It's not painful, but a small rash breaking out on the left side of my hip, right by my ass. It's been there for weeks. And I remember getting shots in that exact spot way back when. So probably looking at vaccine detoxification falls right in line with what that doctor said. I'm thinking to myself, holy shit. But anyhow.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I think so much bad stuff has already happened, and I'm more concerned about the fact that if we don't start saying something and we stay cowardly, okay, at the end of this, you might have thousands and thousands of Americans that are homeless because you shut down all of these restaurants and all these places. And like they said about the school system, technically, they said school probably to like April 20th or something, but the school closures could go longer, maybe even to the end of the school year. Okay, and you think about that. That says they're not done with this. They're right in the middle of it right now, and we got another what, 2-3 months of this crap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
and I think personally, well, by the time we get through another 2-3 months of this crap, people will be so scared that they will give up their rights willingly.
I don't know what to tell you, bro. I don't have a solution for this corona fear mongering other than doing exactly what you've been doing on these streams, is trying to spread awareness to get people to realize that this is all fear mongering and that people need to stop giving in to the conditioning. But 33 people in the chat, or 30 some odd people in the chat, is not going to cut it. It's going to take thousands, millions of people waking up and saying enough is enough.
I know.
Will we ever get there? I don't know. It'd take a miracle.
I don't think so, because they're not going to let us get there. They're going to keep us suppressed now because they don't want the public hearing what we're talking about.
Someone mentioned in the chat that there a lot of people in the West are feeling suicidal. I think that particularly pertains to men, and I'm sure many women who've been on the stream would concur with that.
I agree. I'm not even going to lie to you. I get those feelings sometimes. I won't even lie.
You know
I
what?
know it would be hard pressed that I'm the only one. I know there's a lot of other people out there going through the same feelings, especially TFL men.
You're not the only one. I'll guarantee you, man. You know, when it comes to TFL over the years, we've seen guys kill themselves over this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and the suicide rate. See, these idiots out here, they don't care. They think themselves, well, if you kill yourself, good for you. One less person in the world, one less person to compete against, guys. Okay,
Jesus.
you know, this is how sick it is. It's one less person to compete against. Rather than look at each other as human beings, it's all about competition. It's all about one-upping somebody else, having a better car, a better house, a better job, a better lawn. Everything you can think of, man, we got to compete against each other for it. We got to keep competing. Then wonder why we can't get along and can't stand up together, huh?
And
Yeah.
men are too afraid to admit that the current version of unfettered capitalism that we have, which case the TFLer men get discriminated against in the workplace because people have like an allergy to TFL men. They don't want to hire them, right?
Yeah.
But yet so many men feel like we're like there's a stoicism where they don't want to admit that the winner take all capitalism is hurting them collectively, and it's just
You're absolutely right, bro. 100%. That's spot on right there.
right. Capitalism is the source of why the medical industry is so broken.
Yeah. I lean towards, yeah, you're, I
The
mean,
reason I'm doing all these like non-elective surgeries.
well, another thing too is,
Elective surgeries, right?
yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think a lot of men, especially the men who deal with suicidal thoughts or whatever have you, they don't have the courage to speak out about their mental issues because they know that they run the risk of being taken in by the feds and locked up in a psych ward.
Oh yeah.
And that's the last place you want to go to if you're suicidal. Jesus Christ. It's like you don't even have the freedom as a man to express your emotions.
If you talk about killing yourself, they have a law. It's called Baker Act. And somebody calls a cop on you when you've talked about killing yourself, they will Baker Act you. The cop will come to your door, take you off in handcuffs, take you to a mental facility, unhandcuff you, and let you off, and you'll be held on a 72-hour watch and evaluated. And because it's against the law to kill yourself, but it's not against the law of the government to kill you, right? It's not against the law for a
No.
cop to kill you, right? Or for military to shoot you dead. No. It's only against the law for you to kill yourself because they want to have the privilege of killing you.
See, it's not a joke. It's not a joke anymore, Bill. People think it's a joke. A lot of these people who get online, they think that the stuff that you talk about, that other people talk about concerning, the government agendas and the TFL, they think it's all just a joke. They don't understand how serious this stuff is. This is business right here. This is serious business right here.
It's real life factual stuff, TFLers, the dating scene topics, men not able to get a woman in their life is a very, very personal issue. Okay? And that alone scares a lot of people off from even being willing to talk about it because it's personal. They're afraid of being mocked, called names, and made fun of because they couldn't get a woman. Okay? They know that they're going to be told it's their own fault because they've been out there telling other people it's their own fault. Because Polly want a cracker? Yeah, they're parroting other people without using their own damn sense. And that's why, like in MGTOW itself, you got so many MGTOWers that I guarantee are TFLers.
Oh, yeah.
But they're never going to admit that they're a TFLer. Oh, no. They want you to think that they were able to get women. They don't care. Because all they care about is what somebody else may think of them.
No, you're right, Bill. If they could get a woman, they wouldn't be MGTOW. They wouldn't.
It's sad, okay? And then you get people, even still today, I said, well, I don't know if TFL is even real, okay? And I says, oh, okay, well, maybe it's not real, but then you need to explain how come PUA sold so much merchandise. Who would be their customers?
Or
Ugh,
wasn't there that guy
yeah.
trolling?
What's that?
Wasn't there that guy trolling you guys a while ago? He was saying something like, "Oh, the only reason TFL is real is going to become real is if you guys keep talking about it."
Well,
You'll
see,
go.
and that's a crock of shit. You know, that was Espio. That was Espio that made the crack on my show, and he wasn't kidding. He wasn't joking. He was serious. He says, you know, TFL would go away if you just stopped talking about it.
Oh, give me a break.
Well, do you know before I gave it a name, it was growing and getting bigger without being talked about?
Mhm.
Right.
So why don't you shove that one where the sun don't shine?
Right.
Yeah, if you have a plumbing leak in your house, just ignore it and it'll go away, right?
Well, yeah, you know, if you ignore it, it'll eventually go away, right? How did you
Yeah.
How did you leave your house? Why did you leave your house in a rowboat?
Yeah, if you leave the burner on and your house catches on fire, just ignore it. It'll go away and everything will just be like it was brand new.
Right, it'll all go away. It'll be burnt to the ground. That's right. There you go. I mean, it's insanity. So if we just stop talking about what's going on with Corona, it'll go away. Well, then maybe we need to pass that message to all forms of media. You know it'll go away if you just stop talking about it.
Yeah, if you idiots at Fox News and CBS would just shut up, we'll be fine.
And then they're gonna say, "Well, I can't do that. I have to do my job, man, because I'd like to make a lot of money doing what I'm doing."
Yeah, I got that $4,000 a month mortgage to pay off.
Yeah. And meanwhile, you get thousands of people that end up homeless, so the government don't step in and ship them money because they put them out of work. And if they reopen the places after a month and a half of being closed, that's still a month and a half that people went without pay.
Yeah,
Now,
over here
now they're
people are
behind
more.
on shit.
Yeah, over here people are more concerned about.
Uh-oh, you cut out there. Try your mic again, Bronco.
Yeah, I was saying over here where I am living, people are more concerned with somebody who's taking on a huge mortgage, paying off their mortgage, as opposed to like a TFL guy who's renting efficiency, or somebody who paid cash for somewhere that they can actually afford. It's like,
Yeah.
all the priorities are so out of whack.
Well,
hey, Drunk Hope, sorry,
ahead.
Bill, go ahead.
No, I'm gonna let you go.
Oh, I was just going to ask Drunk Hope, you live in Toronto, right? Or somewhere in that region?
In the region, yeah.
Okay, so what are the costs of living like up in Toronto?
Well, for my efficiency, I pay around, it's a very small one, around $900 a month. Actually more, around $930 per month on average. When I take utilities into account, they've jacked up the water utilities. I think they're just going to keep jacking up.
Now, what's the square footage on your efficiency?
I think it's around 370 square feet.
Let's see. Oh my God, that's fucking crazy.
It is.
Over 4, maybe a little over 4.
Well, yeah, you know, Dave was talking about the stock market tanked 3,000 points today. And I'm like, well, of course, because if you follow the money for the coronavirus, you got the people involved making bets on stock falling and bets on stock going up. So the stock market, if you watched over the last week, it's been bouncing up and down like a yo-yo.
Well, because everybody's playing the options game now.
Yeah, they're all competing and making bets like in casinos, making bets on stock and making themselves a shitload of money off this. That's what they're doing.
That's why they've lowered the interest rates so much. It's not to benefit working people, because lowering interest rates doesn't do that. What would actually help most TFLers is something like some level of a basic income. Where they tax luxury consumption, jets, but they're never going to do that because it's all about the worth of all these luxuries.
No,
They
they
would
don't.
probably do something opposite.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
yeah,
well,
no,
well,
they're-
they don't want people owning anything anyhow. Think about your land or your property. If you don't pay taxes, you lose it, even if you spent 30 years paying it off.
right. It's a contradiction. It's a contradiction of the idea. Yeah, the thing, what's going to happen is they're going to make co-living a thing where
God.
you're all living great and you have to share kitchen, bathroom, like perpetual student, like you're living in a student dormitory, that you have to work 10 or 12 hours a day,
Boy, I tell you.
pulling the plow, and you never get ahead. They're not going to let you have savings because it's going to be negative interest rates. So you pay money out to the elites, right? Who are benefiting from this gambling, this casino type stuff. And yeah, you're never going to be able to afford housing.
Jesus
Like
Christ.
at least
No.
most, I won't.
Well, you know,
Well, yeah.
actually, that's correct. Most people nowadays can't afford a house to begin with. And even if you get in an area where it's more affordable to live, then the wages drop. You know, I can go from Minnesota, where the minimum wage is $10 an hour, and come back
Right.
across the state line, a minimum wage is $7 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. I could theoretically buy a property now with all the savings that I have, but then there's no work in the area where I'm thinking of. It's like a very far out area, like rural.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, they'll give loans on rural property where you have no down payment. If you qualify, you get a loan on a house in a rural area with absolutely no down payment. You know why? Because it's in a rural area. You're going to be driving miles to go to work.
Well, yeah. So they give incentives because it's so economically tough to live there. Like you have to drive everywhere. Wow. Yeah.
You know, Drunk Hulk, you were talking about that co-living situation. They've already implemented co-living in cities like
Oh, yeah.
Los Angeles, San Francisco, a lot of places in California. I've actually seen videos on this. It's a fucking shithole. It's like
Yeah.
living in bunk bed dorms stacked 3 high with a bunch of other people, and everybody's got their shit all over the floor, sharing bathrooms and showers, and
Oh,
they're paying like
yeah.
600. They're paying like 600 a month for this arrangement. It's a
Remember
fucking load of crap.
Remember when Mitchell said, just when you think you might stumble upon a girl you're compatible with, a big fat cock hits you on the head. That's what that's like. Living in co-living. Remember that he said like all these PUA coaches would say it's apparently raining pussy outside, but I could be raining pussy, but I'll just get
Well,
hit on with a big fat cock.
Yeah, you said you'll get hit in the head with a cock.
Yeah.
And that's what this
Well, you
Because
know, you were just talking about the conditions of bunk bed stacked 3 high in a small room with a bathroom and a makeshift kitchen all in one room, right? Like a dormitory, right?
That's
and
right.
so you're talking about they've already got this going on with people, blah blah blah. But what you're not thinking about is this. That's part of Agenda 21.
It is.
Yes, that is actually part of Agenda 21. Is
it's
to
segregated.
they
Gender
want
segregated.
they basically want to farm all humans into bigger areas and have all humans living in a little cramped spot like what you were talking about, okay? Because it's called green. You're going green. You're going to be saving on energy. You're going to be saving on this, and it's complete hogwash. It's about farming. Is what it is for control.
Buy into that.
Saving on energy. Give me a break.
Oh, it's such bullshit. And guys, like, you know that I don't know about the US, but here we're literally subsidizing people to buy Teslas. Like it's tax subsidy.
Yeah.
Teslas are like $60,000 cars. Like you would think by now they'd figure out a cheaper electric car. No, they're not going to do that. This is all subsidization of the elites.
Yeah, well,
That's
you
what
know,
it is.
I've got somebody here who says you have many MGTOWs who are ridicule TFLers. Well, of course they do, because they're TFLers in denial.
Yeah.
So you attack the very thing you are.
Stockholm syndrome, right?
Yeah.
Those co-living bunk bed situations should run you no more, and I mean no more than $100 a month. For
You got it. You got it.
no more.
I'm totally with you, Hayden. I don't care where the hell it is.
Hey, and I'm not against that. I'm not against them having that option open for people who are lower income, who are looking to save a bunch of money a month on rent so they can get ahead in life. But
Shouldn't
to
they at
turn
least
that
have-
into the norm,
Yeah. Oh no. Well, that's what I hate to fearmonger, guys. I hate to be negative. I think they do want to turn this into the norm.
yeah,
But
they do.
at least you would think that, like you said, there's shit everywhere. At least they should be humane and give everybody like their own bathroom or something. Maybe share the kitchen. Maybe some people like to be social with a bunch of other dudes, and that's fine, you know. But
Oh, dude, I would. Dude, I would off myself in a New York minute in a co-living situation. I'm just being honest. I couldn't put up with it.
share both. If I had to share, I've done it before, believe it or not, before I got my place. But share a bathroom and a kitchen. I hate to say it, Hayden, I would too. That would be the end of me.
Oh God, it would. I would either do that or I would try to tough it out in the wilderness or something.
Yeah, you're better off like what Alex talks about, like living out of a car, enjoying
Yeah.
the
You can carry a 5-gallon bucket, a toilet seat, and a roll of toilet paper, and you could put your bucket out in the woods next to a tree, put your toilet seat on it, and position it very carefully. Have a seat, but now when you go to wipe, don't bend over too much because you might fall over.
I just picture like,
Yeah.
like there's a slogan for Ford, the motor company Ford. It was like Ford Nation, like all these ads. It's like Ford Nation. It's gonna be like Piss Jug Nation. Just picture the same font.
That piss jerk stuff, man. I've actually, if push came to shove, I've considered the thought of taking the top off my Chevy bed and putting a trailer bed attachment onto my Chevy so that I could live that way if I had to. Obviously, that's not what I would choose. I would probably see if I could negotiate moving back in with my parents if they tried to get this co-living thing up and started. But that.
Well, off the grid, and they made a statement, I guess, according to media guy, that living in your car could get you ticketed or arrested. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
He's correct about that. If you're actually living in your car and they know it, you have to change addresses every night because they'll fucking nail your ass and they'll run you as homeless out of the area, okay? I would say if you're going to live in your car, you need to leave town and find a nice secluded spot to live in and then you still might be getting run out because highway patrolman will come along and, what are you doing here? Well, I'm sleeping tonight. Well, you need to go somewhere else to do that. Well, no, there ain't nobody out here. I'm not bothering nobody. Well, you need to go somewhere else to do that.
Bill, I actually spoke to a gentleman at Walmart one time who was living out of his Chevy truck with his wife, older gentleman in his maybe late 50s, early 60s. And he just had a conversation with him about some of those different things and what it was like living out of his truck. And he says he told me it was stressful. He told me that he had to pretty much watch his back for law enforcement and crooks at all times. And I would actually see this gentleman because his Chevy truck with that bed attached to the top sticks out like a freight train out in public. So I've seen this gentleman actually driving around in different parts of town, having to switch it up. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I know what you're talking about.
I'm going to answer one more question. A guy here is talking about Winston Wool. Okay, promoting is going overseas to get a woman in your life to get out of TFL. First off, unless you have $20,000 put up in your bank and you have a really good paying job and perfect credit, don't waste your fucking breath. Because you'll have to have all that to even stand a chance to get a female to America or yourself to their country to live permanently. You will have to have that kind of money. Second off, if you could do it, you're taking women away from the men in that country, creating a TFL problem over there.
Yeah.
Cyclical, like a vicious, just kind of.
Yeah, if it's not an English speaking country, you have to learn the native tongue if you haven't learned it already, which is going to be a very hard transition. And you're going to have to get a job over there to help you support your living too, which is not easy. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
They
mean,
say- They say, "Oh, just teach English." I'm like, no, that's all being done online now. So think of the competition and how saturated that is.
Oh
it's
yeah,
the
you're
craziest.
applying for a job online now, where you used to walk in and fill out a paper application. You might have had 5 people or 10 people most you were competing against before they stopped backing applications. But now you're competing against thousands of people for the same job because it's online.
Yeah, everybody in
Mhm.
their aunt. Everybody in their aunt is applying online now.
Yeah. I mean, if you were to go the application route, you're best off walking into the building and talking to the manager face to face. Let him know
What's
you're
the matter?
serious.
What's the matter? Don't like a little competition? The guy shouts from his Cadillac Escalade.
Oh God.
Well, that's the big problem in our society. That's why I brought up from this very first sport arena. What it was social engineering. It's like the television set was sold to you as entertainment, which was the snake oil, okay? Look at it now. We're all competing against absolutely everything. There's nothing that people ain't competing against each other for, and all that does is create enemies. We're beating the shit out of somebody because they got a jersey on for their favorite team that you hate. And you don't even know them, but you're beating their ass just because they don't like a team you don't like.
Yeah.
I predict we're going to start seeing people start beating up homeless because they're afraid they're going to be vectors for the coronavirus. Beating up homeless women, I guarantee it. It's gonna happen in the next year.
Yeah, and if they quarantine, if they do martial law and tell everybody they have to be indoors, right? How are the homeless people going to be indoor? Oh, that's right.
Right.
They'll be indoors at the FEMA camp, right? Then the homeless come
Yeah.
up missing because the military hauled them off at some damn camp.
Be like the Gulag.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Oh man.
I seen one today where audit the audit. These people going around auditing for the First Amendment, right? Okay, and it made me laugh because this guy's out there with his buddy with their camera, okay, filming a refinery that refines oil, okay, and they wasn't on the property. They were at a spot where there was no sidewalk neither, right? So you had to
Mhm.
walk in the street or you had to walk on the grass, and then the cop pulls up and tells them they need to get off the public street. And they said, we're just filming. Cop says you need to get on the sidewalk. And he says there is no sidewalk, and he's pointing his camera. There ain't no sidewalk on either side of the street. And then the cop says, I don't care. You can't be on the public street. You can't be in the grass because that's personal property. So you need to be on a sidewalk. And the guy says, what do you want me to do, float?
Tiptoe on the curb.
It was absolutely ridiculous how this cop's, I'm going to cite you for not being on the sidewalk when there ain't no sidewalk. And the other guy says, how can we be on a sidewalk that don't exist? He says, then the cop says, that's not my problem.
wow.
That's a big issue, Bill. People always say, well, law enforcement is here to protect us, but they're not above the law. Bull crap. They are above the law.
Oh, that cop basically admitted it because that one of the other guys says to him, well, if that's fine, then if you're going to write me a citation for not being on a sidewalk that don't exist, then you better be writing yourself one because you're standing in the street. And then the cop says, that don't apply to me.
Exactly. They've been given the power that they're above the law and they can break the law, but nobody's going to hold them accountable. The officers will side with them always, even if they know they're wrong.
Yeah. And they clearly know they're in the wrong with. This cop clearly knew he was in the wrong, and he was just riding on his power trip, okay?
Yeah.
And this is not a cop, If he's going to claim he's above the law, then you are above the law too, because that means there is no laws. Because his job is to enforce the law and he also has to abide by the law for a great example, an enforcer of the law. And if you're going to be above the law, well, I'm sorry, then there ain't no such thing as a law.
Yeah.
Well,
That's why I feel about that. Anybody that says they're above the law, cop, government official, well, then everybody's above the law because there ain't no law. Because the law only becomes a law when it applies to everybody, including presidents, congressmen, cops, sheriffs, deputies, don't matter who you are. Okay, marshal's office, doesn't matter. All the laws still apply to you too, and if they don't apply to you too, then they apply to nobody.
yeah, yeah, well said.
You know,
Yeah,
and
'cause-
people get mad when I say that and say, well, no, we have to have them. Well, no, we don't have to have corruption. We have corruption because we're accepting it.
that's right. It's been perpetuated. It's because, well, in I think legal terms, I always use the word precedent. We've set so many precedents in our lives with like the male bashing, male shaming, the economy, the health system, all this. You know, I was reading an article a day about a 23-year-old guy who offed himself, and one of the commenters under a female name said something like, "Male entitlement is so dangerous to society. You know, oh, I'm fearing for our lives." She said this male entitlement is Western male entitlement is off the charts or something like that.
Oh
Male
yeah,
entitlement.
I know what you're talking about because I've seen somebody that said that before. That somehow because we're male, we have more privileges and rights than women.
Yeah,
When in reality, it's the opposite way around. Women have actually now more rights than men.
Oh yeah.
let's see if I can find the article.
Male entitlement. So,
I get that's a lot like white privilege, okay?
oh yeah, give me a break.
You know, you got a lot of privilege, Hayden, because you got white skin, right?
That's
Yeah.
it says. Here's the article. Grade A student who was 23 years old killed himself after a botched circumcision left him in constant agony. And that was the comment that the lady had wrote was, "Oh, this is Western male entitlement. This is a this is a what was trivial matter." But the comments are gone now, so I don't know.
So he was circumcised at the age of 23 and it was botched.
As far as I know, yeah.
Oh, dude, that would be enough to make anybody want to kill themselves. Why the hell not? That's one of the most excruciating circumstances you could be in,
That would be some severe pain right there.
especially if it's botched.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a failed operation. I mean, even if it was a successful operation, you would be in extreme amounts of pain after going through an adult circumcision.
Okay, I got the link to the article and this okay, I'm gonna call her. I don't care. This post, because they put their own name. This poster that goes by the name of Kay Gardner says, "A selfish man, he could have sued the doctor and got it sorted. Now his poor mom pays the bill for the rest of her life in heartbreak."
Yeah, but
And it's in the slang kind of. They've written it grammatically improper. It says to kill yourself over not wanking off or a bit sore.
Wanking
Bloody-
off. Oh my God. Give me a break.
how
Okay.
did they even come to that conclusion, though?
Canada. This is not exclusive to the U.S. or Canada. This male shaming is definitely a thing in the entire Anglosphere. What do you guys think?
My deal is, why is he entitled for killing himself over that? Why?
Because
Why does that make him
they're
entitled?
making shit up. They're just pulling it out their anal, okay? To slam him, it's more male shaming, even on a guy that dies. He can't even die, without some stupid screwball coming along and finding some negative thing to say about him because he was a guy.
You know what that tells me? Is that, I mean, according to this report, this gentleman killed himself due to the botched circumcision, but I guarantee you he was dealing with many more problems in his life that caused him to be suicidal, and the botched circumcision was just the final nail in the coffin.
It was like the straw that broke the camel's
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
The final straw that broke the camel's back. That was just the thing that triggered it. I guarantee you he was dealing with a lot more problems that led up to it. But no, that female reporter didn't take that into account, did she? Of course
No,
not.
she just remembered it was a guy and went to town slamming him.
Yeah, he was born with like you said, Bill, all the time. He was just born with a dick and two balls. That's all she needed to know.
So she didn't know. That means you're a villain. Sorry, you're a rapist, you're a predator, you're a pedophile. You're everything vile because you was born with a penis. It's sick. It's outright sick.
You know, how would a woman feel if she needed an operation done on her uterus and she was left with a botched surgery that left a 2-inch, a 2-inch white scar on her clitoris? How would that make her feel? That's some kind of an equivalent.
Well, there's plenty of outrage over female genital mutilation from what
Yeah.
I've seen.
Well,
Of
yeah,
course
I
there
know
is.
what you're talking about. There's outrage over because it's a female. But nobody says nothing about mutilating a guy. Oh, well, so what? That's just a guy.
They're naturally rape. Have violent tendencies anyway. So anything that could anesthetize it. So who cares if there's any scientific backing? Who cares? We need to pad the pockets of the medical industry.
I give you a lot of props, Bill. You've been talking about these issues for years now. I mean, it takes a wealth of courage just to even discuss these topics. I mean, because this is not comfortable stuff to talk about, even for guys like myself. It's not. I mean, this is serious business. People don't want to talk about these subjects. They're too taboo.
Oh, big time.
Even if they're living it, and they see it, they still don't want to talk about it.
Or they lash out at people who try to point out the truth, like we are here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's sort of like the coronavirus. You're going to go out there and you're going to cough inside a fucking store. And you're going to get attacked by a bunch of people, or you're going to see everybody scatter and yelling at you.
Yeah.
Don't you cough around me. I don't want corona. You probably got corona. You coughed.
I was at Walmart just the other day and I saw a white guy. I guess he knew one of the workers at the store, small Filipino man who works the greeting aisle. And he went up there to shake his hand, and the Filipino guy looks at him with his hands up like he's being interrogated. And he's like, "Oh, no, coronavirus. No, you don't touch me." It's like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, I know. It's absolutely insane. I just wish this stuff would stop and go away like forever, but I don't see an end to it. I really don't. I think my biggest fear here is the fact that I'm watching the behaviors that I knew people would act like. I'm watching every day all of these reports every day, and I realize what they're doing to the public is scaring the living crap out of them.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime people give up their rights, it comes through fear.
Yeah, that's what worries me the most, Bill. And Drunk Hulk is when the behaviors and the emotions of other people have a personal impact on us. That's when it's really going to start to get under my skin.
I don't like what I'm seeing. I would like to see it go away. If I had my way, all of this should go away, including TFL.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully.
Because I don't wish this shit on anybody, okay? But I feel this way. To become scared or to become afraid to speak out because, oh, they might come and round me up. They might get me if I speak out, Okay? They might put me on a list, and then they'll come and round me up, kill me, so I'm not going to speak out. So
Right.
you're going to, and this is the reason they could get by with doing that, because you're folding to fear, and if you fold to fear, you give up your rights, you become enslaved, and eventually you become caught and killed. Okay?
Yeah.
You know, the reason we're in the shape we're in is because nobody ever stood up to begin with.
I'm just reading a comment in the chat here. It says he's talking about Sharon Osbourne male shaming some guy. I was gonna say, well, don't worry, Sharon Osbourne, she's financially set. She's gonna weather coronavirus just fine. She's got lots of. Don't worry about Sharon Osbourne. Oh well, you know.
Yeah, I'm not even worried about the corona thing. I mean, I feel it's a psyop. I feel a lot of it's fraudulent. Okay, I'm not saying people ain't dying, but I'm saying that it's not near as bad as they're telling you, and they're purposely hyping this up and hyping it up. And I think this is something that, like I said, just from everything I've seen, it's been planned for a long time to do this. And
well, Bill, I'm worried about the economic and social implications. Just people,
they're
turning
giving,
against each other.
yeah, they're giving the elite their wants, because rather than standing together, you're turning against each other. This gives the elite their wants because they could actually put military on your streets now to control the children. I'm not talking about the child. I'm talking about the 20, 30, 40, and 50 and 60-year-old children.
Jesus.
You know, you big children that never grew up, that refuse to get along. Well, you're the reason the military is going to land on your street. You're the reason they'll be there.
You know, I've always had that image in my head. You know, we see the war movies, like Black Hawk Down, and all those where they got the military jeeps with the 50 caliber machine gun on the top. You know, with the soldier operating it. I mean, that's a frightening thought to see one of those military convoy jeeps with one of those 50 caliber machine guns patrolling the streets of our American neighborhoods and streets.
Oh yeah,
that scares the living shit out of me.
Then you have some finger triggy, happy, thing or stupid idiot, dumbed down sheep in a military uniform that's been given permission to shoot somebody that's up there out after curfew. Okay, but to try not to do it, try to get to arrest them. But if you have to shoot them, shoot them. And I'll just see the guy and I'll say, I gotta shoot him. It's a guy, and they'll pull the trigger, and that's how fast that'll happen.
Yeah, will show shooting TFL men. They'll be volunteering for their government. Oh, you know, don't you be talking about my government.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be compensated financially very well for doing so as well.
Oh yes, Warren's still a live media guy. Yes, he is. Warren just stepped away for a while. Warren and I still talk on the phone, but he stepped away for a while because it was too much stress on him. You know, and I feel for Warren, and yeah, he needs a break like everybody else does, okay? I keep coming up here because, well, I can't go to work no more. I mean, my health won't let me, okay? So I have nothing better to do. I said I'm self-quarantined. I mean, I ain't got to worry about quarantining myself. I've done that a long time ago. Okay, so, but the reality is Warren's tired of the crap, and him and I talk on the phone quite often, and he's told me, no, he don't want to do any public things right now at all. He just wants to walk away from it for a while, and so that's what he's doing.
I don't blame him. I mean, this topic does get a little bit stressful. You get burnt out.
It does.
It's painful more than anything to think about. But I wanted to ask Bill, you and Drunk Hulk both a question. I wanted to get your opinions on the potential bachelor tax that they're going to be implementing. Do y'all think that they're actually going to follow through with creating a bachelor tax imposed on men and TFL men, single men?
Yeah. I think they will.
They're going to make up some excuse to say that, oh, well, you don't have a wife and kids to pay for, so you have more money to give in taxes. Here's a bachelor tax.
I wouldn't put it past them. I expect them to create a tax on how much oxygen you're bring a month. I'm just waiting for them to do it. They'll start taxing you for breathing oxygen. And I was always thinking, so when you do that, if I don't pay you, what are you going to do? Cut off my oxygen supply?
The green air tax, so called, something like that.
Yeah, there you go. The green air tax, man.
Yeah.
We're
And
cleaning your air, making it safe for you to breathe with plenty of aluminum and barium in it. Okay, and of course, when you get on, you got to pay for the poison we're spraying to make your air clean.
hmm yeah,
You
I wouldn't
know,
be surprised if they started charging people $5 a pop to use public restrooms. They're going to say, "Oh, we've got sewage cloggage going on. We need people to use the
well,
bathroom less."
they already had something similar to this years ago. Years ago, when I was a kid and we were on vacation traveling, my family would use a toll road, and we'd be on that toll road. And they had really fancy, like truck stops and restaurants and bathrooms and shit. We stopped to get something to eat. You gotta go in the bathroom, and every one of the stalls had a goddamn fucking pay device machine on the door, and you had to put a dime in order to even get into the stall or climb under. And if you got caught climbing under, of course, they'd throw you out of the restaurant. And so you were literally paying then. Now, since then, I haven't seen it, but they already did that once. So I wouldn't be surprised if they brought it back. Not at all.
Oh, there's already a pay toilet in New York City that charges $8 a day. This is an article from 2014.
There you go. I don't put nothing past anything anymore because all we have is selfishness, greed, and nobody paying attention to what's really going on around them. And we're in the middle of this chroma thing. I just say we all been chromatized, okay? And now that we've all been chromatized, we see in all these sheep that are scared shitless that don't know what they're wearing. And it's going to get worse because they're not laying off. They're not laying off. They're
Yeah.
pushing the fear, and they're pushing the fear every single day. And I know something big's up because even though we have fear porn every 4 years, it's never been ramped up this hard before. Which
No, it
tells me they're after something, probably upping the NWO agenda and taking more rights away from the people when it's all said and done. And maybe the change of the faces, the change after this is all said and done will be drastic stuff like military patrolling your streets every day of the week now for the rest of your life, and and curfews and limits on what you can buy at the grocery store and how much of each item.
And you know what's going to happen, Bill? I could see this happening too. If they do come to a point where they start enforcing martial law, military on the streets, you know what's going to happen simultaneously in the media? Everything in the Middle East is all fixed. Problems in the Middle East are fixed. War is over. Conflicts over in Jerusalem have come to a still stand, and troops are coming home. Yeah, they're coming home to patrol our streets.
Wow.
It could. I could be wrong. I mean, that's a theory. That's not something that I declare as fact. But I could see them twisting it in the media, saying that conflicts over in the Middle East have come to a stopping point. We're going to bring a lot of troops home. The troops are going to come back home, and then at the same time, that's when they'll enforce military on the streets.
Yeah.
Because they'll have a reason to do it.
Talks about there could be a bachelor tax. I'm thinking it could potentially get even more extreme than that. Like that there may be mandatory co-living for a TFL member.
I could see them trying to charge maybe $100-$200 a month bachelor tax on single men.
Oh yeah. Well, this guy says, why do people care more about money than survival? And well, they don't even care about survival because they obviously care about toilet paper, though.
Yeah, if they did that, Drunk Hulk, if they put a bachelor tax in for a couple hundred a month, I'll probably just say, fuck it. I ain't living on my own anymore. I'll move back in with my parents. Live in TFL anyways. Why the
Oh no,
why
hey,
not?
you're gonna be living in your mom and dad's basement?
Why not? You gonna keep on taxing my ass?
I couldn't help but say that because you know how many times you hear that being said in the
Oh.
manosphere.
You hear other men shame other men. Oh, dude, you got to move out of your parents, and you'll break TFL tomorrow. Really?
Oh yeah, I know. You just
Really?
move out of your parents' house, you'll magically have a girl like you.
It's just that easy, Bill. You just move out of your parents, and you have women running to you like a chick magnet.
Well, it's like what Steve talks about with the bar scene. You know, there'll be all these guys, and they'll be making, they'll be great friends as long as they're all making good money. The moment somebody's poor, or the moment that I were to be unable to work anymore and had to move in with my parents, it would be like suddenly, oh, I'm a neat. I'm not even a human being anymore. They just say you're neat, not employed or educated, whatever.
You might be overqualified for the job.
Right.
I mean, this has happened to me before. I've applied for work at a place and I got turned down because I was overqualified.
Give me a break.
And I thought, overqualified? She says, that's right. They turned me down. I thought, oh my God. You mean I might outdo somebody else working there and do a better job of working than them? Oh no.
Hey, Bill, I remember that video response you did with Steve that one time to that Kelcat guy who talked about all the self-improvement. Oh, if you just get in the gym, the women are just going to throw themselves at you. You're going to have your nice car with a house on the hill. It'll all just throw itself at you.
That's right. It's a lot like the chick magnet. You put on a chick magnet guy, you're walking down the street and a bunch of fucking chickens are stuck to you and they're flapping their fucking feathery wings and they're stuck to you. Damn, I gotta get this chick magnet off. It's the wrong one.
Guys, look at Media Guy just posted a great comment here. He's projecting there'll be mandatory therapy for TFL men.
Mandatory
and
therapy.
some
quack telling you it's your fault for being stereotyped out by society. That's what Media
Well,
Guy
yeah, that's
says.
he did it. That's a good comment because
Very good.
I could see them doing that, and they could say you're dangerous to society. You have mental health issues because it's not normal for you to be talking like this. And don't worry, we know it's your fault, but we're gonna fix you.
You know what that's like, though? That's akin to, that's like the next level of these people who troll your comment section, except it's being force fed into your ears, so to speak, by a therapist.
Yeah, you would be forcibly taken. I mean, well, first they'll take your rights to bear arms from you because you've got a mental health issue. Okay. And second off, because you're dangerous to society, you probably have to be institutionalized for your therapy. Okay, to make sure that you understand that women are goddesses and they do no wrong and they're angels and that you're the reason you're alone and you know it and if you're short or ugly, well, there's not a lot we can do for you. I mean, but it's still your fault, okay?
Oh,
I'm scrolling up in the comments section here, and Ultimate Moralizer, he's echoing my sentiments. He says that it's that one thing that he hates is how people label TFLers as being akin to Elliot Rodger and the incel movement. And
oh God.
how dumb is it? And he asked, how dumb is that? I said, it's ridiculous. It's disgusting.
It is. I mean, Elliot Rodgers, first off, is a Hollywood actor. And he's not dead. He's still alive. You could take that to the bank. It never
I bet
happened.
he is. Yeah.
It looks fake to me, Bill. To be honest with you, I try to be very objective.
Well, I put a video up a while back. I'd have to go find it on my channel where I literally played footage of Elliot Rodgers on stage in Hollywood with the big wigs of Hollywood with his dad, and he was all dressed up in a suit meeting these big wigs of Hollywood. Okay, I put that in people's face, and then they're going to, use your head. This fucking guy was an actor. I mean, it's just it's in your face. Okay, so one guy, Elliot Rodgers, who had two roommates as old as himself, he just single-handedly, like Chuck Norris with a knife, killed them both. And then he goes out and somewhere he got a gun and he shot a bunch of people. What? And then offed himself. But yeah, right? No, I don't buy it.
Really kind of bizarre, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it's sad because there are a lot of incels idolizing L.A. Rogers. And what they're idolizing is what Drunk Hulk just got through talking about that comment. They're idolizing the day that they're going to get taken in and told they have a mental health issue and they got to have this forced counseling because they need to be fixed so that you think with the brain in the jar. You need to understand that maybe, well, you're never going to have a woman in your life. Don't you understand? You're not good enough to have a woman. That's only for the upper tier people. You're
The
a
way-
lower tier.
They'll start off by phrasing it like they'll insist that something traumatic happened to you early in your that you have bad parents or something. That's what they'll start off
Oh,
like.
yeah. It'll be your parents' fault, yep.
Yeah, yeah. And I had amazing parents. So what does that tell you?
That would be sort of like the stuff Monday pushed. Because Monday pushed it was from your childhood.
Oh,
Okay? And that's a crock of shit. There's so many guys that grew up just like everybody else that could tell you they had their sister and they had a brother, and the sister could even be overweight. She always had a guy in her arms, but yet the brother could never get a date ever.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
can attest.
That seems to be a reoccurring theme. So
Yeah, but it's factual. It's actually happening, and it's not through guy's fault. It's not the guy's fault, and it's not from his upbringing. How about it's from your society and social engineering? Oh, that's right. Nobody wants to talk about that part.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not.
you ask most of these guys, these MGTOW type guys in the manosphere, they tell you that you need to quit whining and either learn to code or join the military. Go get your limbs blown off
Oh,
for nothing and sleep on a bunk bed. That's what you had.
Okay, well, hold on. Let's see. Join the military,
Yeah.
and do service for the country who denies you a woman, huh?
Yeah,
Uh,
The country that doesn't care about you. You are undesirable. They threw you away. So
Yeah.
society throws you away and then wants you to go benefit them, huh?
That's why I hate a lot of these mainstream MGTOW guys. They're very extremely right-leaning, super nationalist, and I don't think nationalism benefits TFL guys living TFL. I think
no.
it's
I think they use the nationalistic mindset to cope with TFL.
yes.
I know
Oh.
a new coping drug for TFL. It'll really help you cope. It's got a
Oh,
brand
Lord.
new name. It's called Corona.
I think you're right, Drunk Hulk. I could actually see them enforcing what you called it, mandatory medical care for TFL men. I could see that very well happen. I think you've got a good point. I can see that.
I
was me-
suspect it could go that way, okay? My only fear is the fact that as much bad as we got going on, they've already been targeting men in the manosphere anyhow, okay? And you know this because even in the articles that I showed people in a video that I didn't leave up because of people not listening to it properly, okay? But just the same, when I did that video on 33, I showed the article and they literally put from 2010 to 2020, they gave a whole list of men who went on a rampage that were incel. Okay?
Women who were incel.
Yeah, men that were incel, like Elliot Rogers, okay? And they gave the list of fucking events that took place that they're blaming on incel type men, okay? And then I looked at what they done with Steve Hoka and the Huffington Post, putting his name in that article, linking him to the Canada killing of them, the van run me over. And I've always looked at that and I don't freaking take it lightly. Okay? There's two names in the manosphere that anybody that comes into the manosphere, it doesn't take them long to know who them two names is. That's myself and Steve Hoka.
Yeah.
You know, they know about who Steve is and who I am. They've known it for years. Of course, they know who I am. They've had military outside my door before, so yeah, they know who I am. They even had feds at my door, but just the same, they know who Steve is as well. And his name was flashed out there, and I'm still very skeptical about that. I don't like to see Steve when he gets fired up and starts preaching real hard against women because these sick idiots that done this to him, that's what they want.
I was in on SBO's live stream
And then the trolling.
the other night, Saturday night. I think SBO he was running a live stream after you ran your Saturday night stream, Bill, and
Actually, he was running it side by mine.
he was. I think he had Steve Hoka in there later on that night after you'd finished up, and he was in there with Minnie Rodriguez. With I was in there too, along with First and I think another person. But I mean, him and Minnie got pretty heated, and I backed Steve because Minnie was she was making a few claims that if things got really tough and uh, we got into an apocalyptic martial law type of a situation, that most men would die off or crumble under the pressure. And Steve and I myself quickly had to refute her on that, because we basically said that, you know, most men underestimate their ability to survive and withstand in tough times, but many wanted to. It seems as if she tried to enforce the idea that most men living TFL would crumble. So she kind of showed her true colors. I think Steve was right. He thinks that Minnie doesn't really care much for the TFL situation.
Well,
I agree with him.
there was a story that Minnie had told to me about going to an event, a wedding a wedding thing,
Yeah.
and standing in the house, and there's a one guy there that nobody's socializing with because, and she openly said it, nobody had socialized because he was undesirable. So she
Mm-hmm.
basically, what she really said is, I looked at him and went, ew.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what she said. Okay, and you know, how would she like it if somebody looked at her and went, ew? How, you know, people like Minnie, I think, should probably live the next 20 years TFL. I think
Yeah.
even 10 years TFL. Give
He's
her a
not.
real eye opener of what it's really about.
He's not willing to be to set an example. Is what you're saying.
Yeah.
She mentioned that story on Saturday night too. I know what you're talking about, Bill.
Like, I don't know. Maybe at least been cordial and friendly with. I don't know.
Well, I did a 3 hour chat. I'm going to tell you right now, I did do a 3 hour chat with Minnie Rodriguez. Okay. Now, to load the hodes to nobody's fucking business, I recorded it and she didn't know it. I still have the recording, so if Minnie ever goes back on the shit she said, I could always come up and rip a piece out and let everybody hear her say it with her own mouth.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't like being that way. Even when you say, why did I record it? Well, because she went and got belligerent with me and then denied doing it, I would have had my evidence.
My whole deal is she's 34. She's a relatively young woman, and as far as I'm concerned, judging by the sound of her voice, she sounds like an nursing. Why does she have any concern or interest in TFL to begin?
Well, you know, she
Why?
claims she has a guy in her life and that she's happily in love with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then why is she in the dating scene to begin with? See, it don't add
Right.
up. It don't add up.
Why is she involved in TFL chats on a late Saturday night or a weekday night? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, where's the guy that she loves? How come she's involved in it?
I don't have a problem with Minnie. I never will. It's not. I'm indifferent to it. I don't care. I would just like for her, as some of these other women, to admit that a woman cannot really live TFL. Only men can live TFL.
Well, the way Steve Holka would have put it to me was that Minnie was gloating over her power over men.
Yeah, I mean,
And that may be why she hangs around the manosphere, because it gives her an ego trip. It boosts her ego, and she feels like mighty powerful goddess over all the men.
Well, Steve called her out. He did. He called her out big time on that stream, and I applaud him for it. Because everything that Steve said was exactly on the money. Women can't live TFL. Men are the only people who can live TFL in this day and age. If a woman is lonely, it's because she chooses to be lonely, not because she's forced to.
Well, in the Hayden and the years I've been doing this, I've only met one woman who I know honestly was living TFL. That's no lie. I talked to her for about 3 months on the phone. Okay. And she was actually living TFL. There was not a doubt about it. She was actually living TFL. But I
Mm-hmm.
think and it's not that a woman cannot live TFL, but I think the actual numbers are so low. I mean, super low. Okay.
Yeah.
They have to be somebody that's crippled, super ugly and obese or whatever. Okay. And that's about the only way. Okay. So really, I mean, if a woman applied herself and went out there, even if she's obese, she has choice men don't have.
Yeah. Well, I would even say, Bill, that not even crippled women have a problem with getting men. There was um, a short film that Face and LMS covered on a stream a while back, um, that covered a crippled woman. She was, I mean, one of those. She had a bone condition, bless her heart, that if she bumped into anything, she would break her bones instantly. That I don't know what the name of the condition was, but she she was one of those types of ladies. She had to be in a wheelchair 24/7. She went on a date with this 6 foot tall, pretty handsome guy. I mean, I know a handsome guy when I see a handsome guy, and this was a pretty handsome fella that she went on a date with, and she rejected him. And she went back home and talked to her parents about it, and she said, "Oh, I just didn't feel the spark. He's just not good enough for me." You have 6 foot tall, handsome man. I mean, well ability, well athletically built, handsome men getting rejected by women in wheelchairs. So, I mean, what does that tell you?
Yeah. Well, that's sad. I mean, I didn't listen to that live stream. I know that Hayden left my live stream and went over there. And I
Yeah,
know that Steve eventually went over there, okay? You know, I just feel like it was a little disrespectful of Espio to try to run side by side with me like that. But I remember hearing Espio talking about doing that when he started the Bill series, the Banned from Bill series, okay? He literally did talk about I should run a show side by side with Bill. And I remember one night when he was running side by side with me, I had people coming over trolling my chat and telling people to get over to Espio's stream.
yeah.
So I don't think he accidentally done it. I think he's deliberately done it, and that is very disrespectful. If you wonder why
Oh,
society's in the shape it's in, all you gotta do is pay attention to that type of behavior. Because that's like running competition again. And it's that competitive nature that's not our nature that's been put into us through social engineering that is destroying our society to begin with. It's one of the reasons nobody stands together anymore because they're too
yeah.
busy competing against each other. And I'm not going to hear this bullshit about, well, in the animal kingdom,
Hmm.
that's a crock of shit to me. You fucking can control your own behavior.
No. We're all just a bunch of monkeys. We're all just a bunch of monkeys that want to fuck. That's the church flea monkey, and that's a lot of. We're just a bunch of monkeys.
Oh, bullshit. And that fucking shit flinging
Here's another one.
monkey.
Hayden, another one they talk about. They say is we're polygamous naturally or something.
We're polygamous naturally, huh? So we're all a bunch of King Solomons, huh?
Oh, yeah, right, sure. The garbage that comes out of people's mouths sometimes is just overwhelming. People will say anything to defend something, even if it's wrong, especially the female gender. And I'm a woman hater. You guys do know that, right? Because I'm going to run all the women off.
The matter of fact is this, Bill. If Minnie were to break up with her boyfriend today, she could get another boyfriend in the next 5 minutes.
Well,
Easy,
yeah, yeah.
no problem.
Why don't Minnie put herself on camera? Why don't she let anybody see her? Could she be big and obese?
I don't think she is. She sounds like she has the voice of a attractive woman, and I've
Well,
heard some
yeah,
people say she's attractive, but
she
I don't
could
know.
be, but I don't know. I don't see her. I've seen women that are obese with very sexy voices.
Yeah,
Don't let a voice fool you. I mean,
it's true.
she's all she wants to say she is. Then why don't she woman up and put her face on video?
I just would like these women to grow a pair of tits and admit the fact that they can never truly understand what a TFL man goes through. They may mentally try to agree and comprehend it, but they will never be able to bear the weight
They
of
won't
what it
never
actually means for
truly,
TFL.
totally understand because
No,
they never lived it. They
nope.
may have been responsible for causing it, but they never lived it. Because most women reject you that aren't awake. Minnie's quite awake. Minnie's full aware of the power she has as a female over men. And she's up here gloating it is what she's doing, okay? And then there's women who ain't aware of it and just think that it's just as easy for a guy to get a woman as it is for a woman to get a man, okay? Because they're oblivious to what's going on around them, okay? But just the same, women don't experience this but a very, very low number. And the only women that could ever truly speak on it would be that very, 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 very low number. Okay. Like Jessica, she would have been a good example because she actually lived TFL. Okay. But unfortunately, we all know that the majority of women will never, ever, ever, ever live TFL. They might do as what Steve's talking about. Okay, decide they're not dating no more and go into dating limbo. But by the time they do
Yeah.
that, they've already destroyed 3 or 4 guys' lives, including their own.
Yeah, that's what a huge percentage of the white population is doing, Bill. Or the younger white millennial women. They're all in dating limbo. I know Drunk Hulk has seen plenty of that. I know First has seen it. Steve Hoka sees it.
Yeah.
There are all these white millennial women. They're in dating limbo. They'll pursue their career up until the age of 45 and take it to their grave before they decide to settle down with a family. Sad.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're right. That's exactly probably how it'll go. But maybe after this Corona thing passes, some things will get to be a little bit better. And
Uh,
I don't mean in a good way, okay? But better for men in some ways because
hope.
maybe you won't be allowed to go date it on no more. Maybe some
I mean,
guys that ain't living TFL will get to find out what it's like to not go out to the club no more, huh?
I think that what it needs. I think that's what it needs to come to, Bill.
Like a
I
critical mass. Yeah.
I think there's still we still have a problem where um, I said this a couple of times before that the average man suffers more than the bottom of the barrel person who doesn't get anything at all, because when you're bottom of the barrel, at least you know that I mean, it's pretty much over and you're never going to get a shot. So you can cope with it early on, accept it as reality and move on. Whereas the average guy who's sort of, blue pilled and still working a good job, takes care of his health and
Well,
gets
yeah,
attention from women maybe once in a blue moon. It's just enough to keep him in the game,
it
but it's
might
never
be.
enough to.
It shouldn't be. It's not. The thing is, even when I did the chat with Minnie, this is Minnie's words, okay? In today's society, in the area she lives in, and she knows this because she's talked to lots of women, right? The women are chasing after the baby face guy or the baby doll guy. She said baby doll.
Yep.
Okay. These are the guys they want to fuck, but they don't want to be in a relationship with. Then the guy that they want for a relationship, well, that's the simp. They want the weak guy that don't talk back. Okay. And so then I told Minnie, I said, so what you're telling me is the baby doll guys, the Chads or whatever. Yeah, she says, yeah. They're the ones that
Uh-huh.
women want to fuck. She says, yep. And I says, and the simps, the guys that won't speak up for themselves to you, that's the men you want. She says, yeah. So I says, so basically, what you're looking for is a slave. And she
So they're
says,
looking.
and she says, yeah, that's exactly it.
So they're looking for the oofy doofy type
Yeah.
of guy. They're looking for that slave, and
Now
that
these words
falls.
did come from Minnie, and if Minnie ever denies saying them, I'll rip it out of that goddamn chat and I'll
Oh.
put it up public.
So as far as the looks issue goes, me and Minnie are totally in agreement. Like with what she's seeing is echoing what I'm seeing in terms of women. They like these feminine baby face guys. The masculinity is over with. That's done.
Mm-hmm.
Good call.
Yeah, I'm not seeing women holding hand in hand with Chad these days. I mean, Chad is the pretty boy. Chad is the goofy, goofball frat boy, that you see partying in college. He's not this fucking 6'3" stoic NFL wide receiver built type of guy that we've always been explained he is.
No, I don't think. I think it goes with the simp. They don't want to be with a just heavily built, muscle bound guy no more because he might beat her up.
Well, women want to come to the rescue. They want to, because they've already been conditioned to believe that they're the superior gender. It goes in line with them wanting to rescue a wounded bird, as Alex Dashboard would say a lot of times. They want to rescue the wounded bird. They want to find a guy who's lower status than they are and come to the rescue because it gives them a power trip. That's why they like these oofy doofy guys.
Well, they
pretty
get
boys.
the power trip. You know what? And I can tell you this for fact. Getting in a relationship today is a nightmare because it's all drama. You got to do nothing to start the drama. They will invent anything to start drama and they will do it nonstop. They will treat you lower than fucking dirt.
I know you're telling the truth, Bill, because I've experienced it.
And unfortunately, why are men in a hurry to get with somebody that's just going to do nothing but treat them lower than dirt and throw them away? I mean, would you want to actually be in a relationship with a woman like Minnie? Okay? Even if she was freaking super hot, right? What kind of life are you going to have? You're going to be fucking treated lower than dirt. You're going to be a nobody. It's all going to be about her own selfish self. And by God, you better give her whatever you want or she'll dump you, right?
I'm almost willing to bet Minnie's dating a doofy doofy. I bet he submits to her every day, gives her everything she wants, doesn't talk back to her, doesn't call her out on the bull crap.
Nope, and that's why she can openly have time to go in the manosphere and glow the regal, right?
Bill, I bet you if I were to turn into the oofy goofy and just become a slave to a woman and be at her beck and call 24/7, I could probably get myself a girl. Would you agree?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a girlfriend. You could become a slave to your owner, right?
I'll become a male slave servant to my quote unquote girlfriend, but I'd never be willing to downplay myself like that. Rather live TFL. Honestly, being TFL is not bad at all when I compare it to a situation like that.
Well, that is the reality. Can you imagine working a long day, coming home after working? See, I'll tell you, like with my nephew, he worked a 10.5-hour day. He came home, okay, from work, and his wife, well, she stayed in the bedroom all day and did literally nothing. Literally nothing. Okay? No lie, I witnessed this. Then she comes home. Oh no, I got helicopters over my head. It might be Corona. Oh.
Oh shit.
Anyhow, he would come home from work and the first thing out of her mouth is, "Well, could you get dinner fixed for the kids because I don't feel like it." And then he
Oh,
does
come
that.
on.
So now he's worked all day and he's cooking dinner for her and the kids. And then she says, "Well, could you get the dishes done because that annoys me?" Okay, so there you go. There's the example of what you'd be. You'd go to work all day and you come home and do all the work for her because she's done nothing all day long. You wouldn't want to inconvenience her and have to make her lift her hands and arms, would you?
Right. What crap of shit. I feel bad for your nephew. I mean, if that's the situation
Well,
he's
he's
dealing
figuring,
with every day.
he put himself in that situation, and when I brought up TFL and stuff to him, he knew exactly what I was talking about. I seen it in his face. He knew
Yep.
full well if he got rid of her, he was going to be alone for a long time. So therefore, he's just putting up with it so that he's not alone.
I think Drunk Hulk, I know he's not in the chat anymore, but I think he mentioned a story about a friend that he was close with who was married, and his friend was married to a woman who was basically bossing him around. He knew that if he stood up to her, they'd get divorced and he'd be TFL. So,
Yeah.
you got a lot of men living TFL inside their marriages, which is even worse than just living single
Well,
TFL.
Steve from Texas talks about that, and that is true. Okay, that is true. There's a lot of guys that are actually they might be married, but they haven't done anything in a long, long, long time, and a lot of that comes from the way they're treated because they're too busy fighting and not getting along.
Yeah.
Because people don't know how to get along anymore, which is sad, but it is real. But hey, guys, I think we probably get up out of here. I've been up here about 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
So
Good
it went,
stream.
yeah, it went longer than I thought. But hey, I appreciate Drunk Hulk and you for coming in here. I really do.
You betcha.
But I am going to flip it up on Saturday night, and I'm not going to stay on dating scene all night long. I'm going to start talking about other things. I used to do that all the time on a Blog Talk radio show. Okay. So I'm going to be not just talking dating scene topics. I'm going to be talking a little of everything. As a matter of fact, I'll even let people in the chat suggest a topic, and we might even talk about that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know if I have any plans this weekend or not, but if not, I'll be sure to send you a message, and I'd be happy to join the show for the full duration. So
And that's
looking
what I'm
forward.
thinking about doing is flipping it up and do it in that style. Because I think, the dating scene topics is something we can talk about, but we can only say so much and it just starts all over again, right?
Yeah, it gets burning. It gets burning sometimes. You get burnt out talking about it a little bit too much.
Yeah, so I think it'd be a little bit better if we flip it up, and even people in the chat can bring up a topic and we can talk about that. And I think we need to flip it up and do different things. So that's
That would
probably
be
the
great.
direction I'm going to move with it. Okay, starting this coming Saturday. But I'm going to get out of here for the night, guys, and thank you guys for joining. And guess we'll talk later, huh?
All right. Thank you, Bill.
Okay, bye-bye, guys.